Time, same channel with more IPOs, direct listing, and SPACs. For now, though, it's back to Brendan at the big desk.
Yeah. Hey guys, yeah, welcome in. 2 o'clock on a Monday afternoon here as we get going into the final couple hours. Hope your Monday afternoon is going well. A few things to note here, moving around. It was just Dara and Obi. We're talking about this, but Microsoft just took out the highs there once again. Fresh day highs, if you missed it earlier, they were talking about a new version of AI coming, specifically to compete with Google and others. A few other things of note. Spirit Airlines, all-time lows today on this forecast. My chart is not updating. Let's do it this way. Nope, still not updating. Trust me when I say Spirit, save, all-time lows. 4.6% here. Meanwhile, for Micron, pretty good afternoon going on. For Micron, it's been basically sideways ever since about 10 o'clock this morning, but still holding on to that gap and then some coming off that upgrade. It's about the chips, though, leading the way here. Big tech as well, Microsoft, Meta, even Netflix having a pretty good day. Google, Apple, downside, Apple mostly. Coming off what happened last week, but semiconductors back in action in a big way, including Micron, including AMD. Yeah, there it is. 12%. We just bounced off 320 all-time lows on a Q2 forecast that was just horrible for Save. The CEO saying they're going to have to furlough another couple hundred employees as well. So still no better for Save, unfortunately. Market day highs. This slow and steady kind of grind to the upside continuing here. Overall, I mean, that's how Friday afternoon looked, if you remember as well. Wasn't anything terribly exciting, but just a slow, steady grind continuing on the 2-day look there on the 15-minute chart. But yeah, coming up tonight, we get Palantir after the close. We get a ton of earnings throughout the week. We get Lyft, we get Uber, we get a lot to talk about. Let's check in with Neil and Sean here, and then we're going to have Danielle Shea join us a little bit early this afternoon, so looking forward to that. What are you guys looking at?
Apparently, we should be looking at Spirit Airlines. I didn't realize all-time lows. I knew it was bad for Spirit Airlines, but yeah, you look left and yikes, just another one under some pressure. But the market, I think, slow grind to the upside. Sorry, I was just checking Spirit because it's down over 10%. I was thinking, is there an SSR play? But it's not at $3. But some of the things that we're looking at right now, and the market is slow grinding up. Look at AMD right now. Just hanging out at VWAP. You're talking sideways, no break, one way or another. I mean, I'm into Micron, which is doing a similar consolidation. Just made a bit of a bounce off of VWAP, but that one's going sideways. But then you look on over at a little something else, whose name is Nvidia, churning at the high of the day. Microsoft churning at the high of the day. Okay, fine, Disney's not going to pull things up in the market, but Disney churning at the high of the day. So you do have some names that have been carrying this grind higher, and then others that have been somewhat sitting it out after doing some work in the morning. So I think you got to make sure you're in the right sort of names here. I don't mind like continuation VWAP plays, but there's certainly some strong stocks in this market. There's some dogs. Apple's a dog right now. And there's some that are just hanging out in the middle. Like, I can't remember the last time I saw AMD have a range like that in the afternoon or during lunchtime. It was, for AMD to be doing that kind of a tight band, I think doesn't last. But the chips have been good. You just got to make sure you're picking your spots.
Welcome back, everybody. Oh, I got to get into the right YouTube chat. I mean, I was going to show you the sticky note, but welcome everybody back here. We don't need to do that. We talked about being bullish here early. It's on the note here, 8:30 o'clock. Stay bullish, get long, stay long. We're still long. The TQQ's right here into this trade. We're still long Palantir right now as well, up to $25. Unfortunately, I had to be somewhere during lunchtime, but that's all right. We could have been buying this dip. We should have bought this dip down to VWAP. We actually wrote down on here, buy dips down to VWAP, but we're okay. We got the bottom of the day on Palantir. While we were out, we put our offer for Mullen, and I said to Obi and I said to Adara at the beginning of the day, I said, when I came back in, you know, we got filled on Mullen. I didn't even realize we got filled until we came back, obviously. And it hit that exact spot again, $6. So we sat there and took that fill. So this was $1.50 on a $450 name. So 30%, $4.50 name. Then we actually made, like we say this all the time. You see this? We weren't here again. Our stop order comes in, triggers at that high of the day. Next minute, we drop down $1 and change from that. We get some back rate here on Google, and we go short again there. And then Apple, I'm just showing you all the trades. And then Apple right here, again, on the sticky note, short Apple. We waited for it to come back to the 50-period moving average, and now all of a sudden, your P&L2 of the day goes Apple on one trade. So far, so good here. We're really happy with all of this. Let's just see what happens moving forward, and we'll go on into the close. We'll have Danielle Shea come through. The market recap show is going to be a banger, and I'm going to get in the right chat. But salute to all the traders out there. Let's try to stay short. We're long Palantir, long the market. I do have some stops, so we'll talk about that as the rundown happens. So that's just what I've been up to. What have you guys been up to?
Yeah, I see Havana Woody in the chat there, and there's a good point you're making here, Havana Woody, about some of the crypto names. I am still in that. Was talking with him about this, like Square Short, but it is one of the weakest names. And sometimes when you're short off highs like this, you're like, oh, why would you want to be fighting it on block? Now remember a couple of things, and we'll get into some crypto names in general. Block got trounced on earnings despite the gap up. You're going to see it gave it up early on Friday, and then it gave it up at the open, and then it gave it up again right at this 72.70 price. So that's the reason I'm in this short. And while you've been grinding higher in a few other names, this has been sort of leveling off right in front of that 72.70 level. The fact that it cannot seem to break down here, I don't know if I want to go into it like a fourth time on block. So I have been scalping out. I do like it down into VWAP, but you got to respect some of the strength it's showing. I look over at what's happening in IBIT, and it's like stair step down. So at some point, when I see crypto not really holding up all that well, and I see this name up 4%, it's at resistance, but it's not enough to be at resistance. Sitting in Intel short, that's different. That's a weak stock. It's underneath VWAP. To be sure, but Square is at the high of the day currently. So we got to be respectful of that. And, looks like we just lost VWAP on one name. We might have just lost VWAP on on Micron. We had just gotten some out at the top end of the range, and then it goes right back in, dipping into VWAP. Just not nearly as strong as we were saying in Nvidia. And the more I look at AMD, and Micron to a certain degree, Micron's been too strong. The more I look at AMD, I'm asking myself if I shouldn't be short this name. Like I can't remember the last time I saw something like this on AMD where if you're getting like 15s and 20s, you're risking 20-something cents. And this stock was down at $151 in the pre-market.
Already?
So yeah, I think I'm gonna get on the offer here of AMD. It's weird to want to short VWAP, but when I see it this week relative to Nvidia and the market's still taking out highs, I'm going to take a shot at this. Stop will be at about 155.31.
All right, back to the desk.
It's a little early, but that's okay. We'll have a chat about some possible options trading coming up this week. Ms. Shea with us, as always, on a Monday afternoon to kick off what is going to be an interesting week here. I mean, we were saying this morning, Danielle, that we're obviously through the big earnings, but you mentioned one coming up here on the 15th. I just double-checked, Nvidia. We'll get into that in a couple seconds, but let's go backwards first, and then we'll work our way forwards. Touch on Apple here. The guy's talking about looking at Apple. What are your thoughts after the earnings?
So here's the thing with Apple. Apple had a nice surprise. They came out, they announced a buyback, a raise and dividend, and that was big news, right? And that was a major catalyst for the NASDAQ this last week. And so this week, the key here is, can that move keep going? Because if you look at all these tech stocks, you've got Microsoft that's this close to breaking out. If Microsoft could break out above 415, if you look at Google's on its way, holding at least up above the 8 EMA. It could be on its way to a new high if we could maintain this momentum. You've got Meta that's retracing. I think Meta could trade up into 500. Then, of course, you have Nvidia moving. So, I mean, here's the thing. everything for me right now is about the post earnings move in Apple, because that has caused this upwards momentum in the mega cap names. And if the NASDAQ can break up above this 50 simple on the daily chart, we could easily be onwards and upwards to a new high, but it's got to keep going right here. The momentum cannot die.
All right, you mentioned Nvidia there. Looking at, I mean, back in action in a pretty big way here this afternoon, along with some of the other semiconductors. What are you looking at ahead of Nvidia going into earnings here? I mean, definitely a huge day today.
So here's the thing, is that Nvidia is really the best shot out of the mega cap names to trade to continue going higher. Because I mean, look at this. This one's already broken out up above the 50 simple. Got a nice bright green candle on this today. What that means is that the price is up above the 8 EMA on the daily chart, and it's in a bullish trend. We have a squeeze, we have positive volume here, and we have earnings. Nvidia historically rallies about 10% during the 21 bar time frame going into an earnings report, and it's doing that right now. So here's the thing, is if Nvidia can keep going, that is going to help lift SMH and the semiconductors, and that should give the NASDAQ enough power to continue going higher right here.
When you look at some of the other players in this group, I mean, we had Micron on a positive note this morning to the upside in a pretty big way in the pre-market. Not much follow through as far as interest is concerned. It seems like everyone kind of going back to the leader in Nvidia.
Definitely. I think everything's going back to Nvidia. You know, you have some laggards there. You know, Micron, it has certainly traded well at times. And today, you know, it's up decently, 4.45%. You know, you may be able to trade this one back up into 130, but everything's just been about Nvidia. You know, we have had some others here like Taiwan Semis consolidating. I've been eyeing that one for a potential breakout. And, you know, I can't ignore Broadcom, because Broadcom was so hot last year and even the beginning of this year, but Broadcom's consolidating as well. So, I mean, I think for us as traders, I mean, I know seems like it gets old to just talk about Nvidia all the time, but hey, you know, that's where the movement is. That's where we're going. And I think our next price targets are going to be 950, then 975, and then up at 1,000. So I'm just going to keep trading it higher as it continues up, and as it hits each target, you just want to watch and see if the volume and momentum is continuing or not. And that's how you know if you should stay in or if you should get out and take some profits.
I mean, you kid around, but it's true, right? I mean, we got to go where the action is, and if that's going to be in Nvidia, and as we've seen in a couple of the other ones, and not really anywhere else, then go to Nvidia. All right, you took a long position here in Amazon. Tell us why.
So if you look at Amazon, I would argue that this is probably the other best mega cap name to be trading right here, because it's just below that previous all-time high. And when you are trading a momentum market and you're a momentum trader like me, you know, you want to trade these tickers that don't have all of this overhead resistance. Amazon did really well going into earnings. It did well after earnings. And Amazon has incoming volume. It has this consolidation that's breaking out. So, you know, I'm already in this one, so I can't say that this is the best entry right here up above the 8 EMA. You know, it would have been a little bit better of an entry down here at 180, but I still think trading this one for breakout up into the new high and then up into 195 is going to be the way to play this one, because I still think there's more juice in this ticker.
Lots of interesting names as far as earnings are concerned this week. The big one everyone looking at coming tonight, the big one as in today. Palantir, any thoughts here, any ideas for PLTR?
Sure, we can go ahead and look at PLTR. I mean, with this ticker, we've got a lot of volatility, right? So there's always going to be bets in both directions. And what I like to look at is I like to look at the market maker expected move. So the market maker expected move on Palantir is going to be $3.43. You want to take that and then you want to compare that with the previous moves that this stock has had to say, you know, is this larger than normal? Is this an average move? So for example, last quarter, it gapped up 3.3 $3.58. Quarter before that, $2.56. Quarter before that, 50 cents, $1.48. So I would say that that's a pretty reasonable priced in move there. And then at that point, you just want to decide, you know, do you want to trade this thing to the long side or to the downside? With this right here, I would say that because they've gapped up 2 quarters in a row, you know, 21% last quarter and then 17% last quarter, the next thing I would do is I would check the short interest, because if it's above 10, it looks like we have 4% short float. So not quite enough, but here's the thing. You look at that expected move and you add it to the current price. And so if it moves just the expected range, that's going to be another $3.50 to the upside. You could easily make a new recent high, and that could cause a momentum breakout. It would be better with short interest, but that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I like it. I mean, you know, the thing with these kind of stocks is they're super volatile, but I do like to look at the recent moves, and 4 out of the last 5 quarters, it's been up.
We will keep an eye on what happens tomorrow. As we mentioned, still, I mean, there's a ton here as far as what's to come. Disney, a few energy names as well. Oxy on here. There's Rivian. I think a lot of people are going to keep an eye on. Uber and Lyft coming up as well. Give me your thoughts here, maybe Disney first, and then we'll jump over to Wednesday and Thursday.
Sure. So if we look at Disney, Disney's actually been doing a really good job recovering. The last 3 quarters in a row, we've seen Disney trade higher after earnings. And that was, you know, after quite a long time of this stock getting pummeled. So I have been on the upside of this stock ever since the earnings story kind of changed here. We have an expected move in the options market of $6.50, currently trading at 116. So I think, you know, a reasonable price target would be right around 120. You could try to target a little bit higher, around 123. But typically what I like to do with a lot of these is I'll take butterflies in the options market and I'll put a butterfly with a target at the expected market maker move. What that does is it just gives you a cheap options trade where you can target a reasonable range. Now, if you want to look at it and say, you know, I think Disney's going to crush it and I think it's going to move, you know, twice what's expected. Well, then at that point, you know, you'd want to be targeting up at probably 130. That's a pretty big target, but last quarter it did move 8%. So I think they're in a nice bullish upside trajectory. You could also just sell, put credit spreads on it, or you could say, you know what, I think she's totally wrong, and I think this is going to roll over and die. You could sell some call credit spreads, but I think it's been on a good upward trajectory.
We will take your advice, Michelle. We will take your advice. I mean, we get Lyft and Uber this week. Let's talk about Uber, maybe. It's typically the most closely watched.
Yeah, definitely. So with these, you know, the thing about these 2 companies is they haven't really been doing very well on a fundamental basis, right? And so I don't generally like to look at them as a long, because it just hurts my brain to say, you know, they're not really doing very well, but sometimes they can gap up. But that's the thing, is with both of these stocks, that can happen. As you can see, you know, we've got a 7% gap, 7% gap, 13%, 15% gap. So that's my difficulty with those. With this one, at least recently, you can see that they've been beating EPS estimates, but yet they've been trading lower. So that's not a very good sign for Uber. It's also not a good sign that you're below the 50 simple and you've been in a bearish downtrend. So I think with these, I would probably either be bearish or just neutral. Sometimes I'll just come in and I'll sell the at the money iron condors. I'll sell the calls and the puts and buy some outer wings for protection, because these 2 both have really high implied volatility in the options market. And so generally the price of the options are going to get crushed overnight. They go up into the report and then they go down after. So a lot of the times I'll just sell the at the money spreads and buy it back the next day, and then you don't have to worry about which way it goes.
I know you're on a tight schedule here. Why don't we do one more? Anything else on this list really standing out for you as far as earnings this week?
I mean, these are the ones that are primarily standing out. There's definitely Rivian, but the thing is that this one at this point, it's only a $10 stock. So with this ticker, I think it's in a downtrend. You know, I think you're under a lot of resistance at this $10 strike price. But I point this one out because, especially for options traders, the implied volatility is really high. And since a lot of people trade this ticker in the options market, that means the price of the options go up a lot going into that earnings report and go down afterwards. So this is another one that I know it's pretty volatile, but sometimes I'll just come in and I'll just sell the at the money calls and puts and buy some outer wings as protection, because you can generally get a really good risk to reward ratio. And then it's a neutral trade and you don't really have to worry about which way it's going to go, even though I think that one looks pretty bearish.
Great input, as always. Going to be a busy week, going to be an interesting one on the earnings front. Check her out on X and on YouTube, guys, at Trader Danielle. We appreciate you jumping on with us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
There we go. I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, she's going to come over here, but then there goes Palantir, and I'm like, okay, I'm fine with that. And then there goes Apple. I was like, okay. But thank you, Danielle, for that.
Covering everything.
Yeah, killing it.
Literally everything.
Yeah, Danielle is the best. I mean, you can catch her every single week on the recap show, and then, you know, hopefully as she has time to come through here on the afternoon program as well. So thank you, Ms. Danielle Shea, for another one.
Yeah, and speaking of another one, there was actually one earnings name after market tonight that has not been mentioned at any point today that you guys will probably be looking at on market recap. 30% short float, and it's at its high of the day, and we haven't talked about it once. Sorry, I'm on the offer of AMD. That's what
I really have no idea. I know you're trying to build this up. Oh, Lucid.
No, it's Lucid. It's Lucid.
Yeah, there was some news.
It's weird that we don't ever talk. Well, that's not true. We've talked about Lucid before. But getting a little bit of a bounce. There was a question, someone in the chat saying, what's happening with Lucid today? As far as I'm concerned, it's just reporting after market tonight, not a heck of a lot. 30% short float, at least that's what I have from FinViz. There was no number for trade IDs. I know it's always over 20%, or recently has been. But going into earnings, I have it at 3 above the $3 level, 302 above the $3 level, but just looking for some continuation on this name. And then something we have talked about, oh, it's back at 16? I was about to say GameStop was pulling back into VWAP because of this candle, but lo and behold, GameStop might still break this out. You know what? It just did a bit of a hammer down for 40 pennies. It could go, it wouldn't be crazy if this did something similar to Friday, where it just defied expectations. Because that is one heck of a recovery. It's still above 1590. Like this was down 10% today, everybody. And now you're only down 2.5. I think I'm going to take the break here. I think it's 1622 is a local high. That's a decent consolidation. Give that 15-20 cents, and the high of the day is $1 higher than that. GameStop not dead, apparently. It's still trying to go. Wow, good for them.
Yeah, the tonight, one REIT that I'm still in a little bit, but we did sell, is Simon Property. Yeah, Simon Property, 5%. It's not a super sexy name to trade as the way we trade around here, but I really like Simon Property Group. About a 5% yield, really high quality
dividend
malls. Yeah, but it's a high quality mall. It's like a, I forget who owns Sherway and all that. Cadillac Fairview. It's kind of, so they're kind of like that. All right, that's not Coca-Cola. Oh, Coca-Cola Consolidated. Okay, a different company. Primerica. Hey, get your investing needs done with Primerica. There's Lucid right there as well. Implied move. Yeah, there's the banger. 18% right now on the implied move, and that goes to past move 16.8. Right there. So the big one that's coming, of course.
Yeah, it's
I'm glad to see Palantir with this kind of valuation, but it's really nice. 55 billion, that gets higher tomorrow, I think. And then on page 2, we might have the list. If we do, we can throw that up at any time. I just wanted to see some of these implied moves. That's about it. So it's really just Palantir, and that's it, unless there's some more sub 2 billion coming through. We have AMC later on. I mean, that's going to be really low. No real major names on here again as well. Payment Holdings, I don't know.
Whoever that is.
So kind of like,
whoa.
Palantir is going to be the story there. We just got more short on Google. Did someone just get slapped up?
No, they just broke. Look, GameStop broke 1620 and was at 1660 instantly. Because reasons. So logic is out the window with this one. Normality is out the window with this one, because this is what GameStop is doing. And so I just took some out there immediately at the 1660. If it gets to 50, I should probably just take that again. Gonna go with a break even. That's insane. Like, this stock has no chill, I guess. I was gonna say it makes no sense, but it hasn't made sense for a while. GameStop making moves. I'm in Lucid, but it's not really doing anything. I'm just still at 13.
And abracadabra, bang!
Oh,
there it
there it
is.
is.
See, we made that happen right there. Look at that. We got the Ferrari. How did we forget about those guys on the side there coming through? We'll watch out for them tomorrow. Race coming through, and then that's before the open. So we didn't have that on our list, but there's big ones tomorrow. I mean, Disney. You had mentioned Crocs. I mean, my daughter just got brand new Crocs, and she's like, "Hey, Daddy, look at this color. It's pink quartz. It's like a rare color." So like now this is what's happening. So they got that, and you get all those little things that get attached to them. Ramin, what are those things called? You put them into your Crocs.
I've got like half a dozen.
And they're little. I have like 14 of them in my. I have a baseball one. I have a Stitch one. I have a football one.
At least yours
What are
are
those things
cool.
called?
Mine aren't cool.
Simon Property Groups.
I have a lot of
No,
like.
they're like
kitty-
little widgets, but
No, they're just.
they're like charms.
They're like
yes.
buttons or
What are they
charms.
called? Someone will.
They're like buttons. I don't know.
I'm really disappointed. Hopefully, if my wife is
No,
watching
but
this,
look who
please.
reports before the open tomorrow morning. We talk about aftermarket, and that's where the hot fire is because you get to have them live on the market recap show. But Disney, Crocs, Nikola, whom some people are still interested in, Datadog, and Ferrari. That's another one
Exactly.
that bears
Here
mention.
we have a.
And Madrigal Pharmaceuticals. I don't know
Madrigal.
why.
That's
It's
that
because of,
song. Is that Luca? No, that is.
No.
Where?
We don't talk about Bruno.
Gibbets. That's right. Gibbets is right. Gibbets.
Why
yeah,
am I
that's
already forgetting the name of that movie?
They are called gibbets. What, you're laughing, Ramin? I will just Google gibbets right now.
That's
and
what
then
they're called.
Everyone will just.
That's what they're called?
Okay.
Gibbets? I don't think so.
Thought I was getting mocked there.
I don't believe that at all.
Yeah,
really gibbets?
Yeah, yeah. I'll show you my Crocs. I might wear Crocs tomorrow. I got some psychedelic, crazy ones my brother got me. I have Team Canada hockey ones, and then I have.
I want to get a
these
Buffalo
crazy
Bills
ones.
one then. I'm going to
Yeah,
order
there's
Bills.
so many. There's so. I mean.
What do I buy? Amazon?
No, I think Crocs has a pretty good website. That's where Marissa got ours.
Oh,
They were pretty cheap. Free
wanna- I
shipping.
wanna
Foot
Buffalo
Locker. You know, has a good. I'm always on that stupid app.
You yelled Foot Locker. I thought Foot Locker was moving.
No. I was gonna say Foot Locker is a good spot because they also have a points program. I like to buy stuff with points programs.
Well, that's true.
You know,
I will be going
spend
to play it
$100,
against
get
sports
$10
tonight.
back
That's
or
where I'm
something. I don't
headed.
know. Sometimes you get that. All right, so just quickly here, Google took our lunch here when we talked about getting stopped out right there. That sucked. We got a little bit back, and then now we're trying again, looking for 50 breaks. So if it breaks higher than 50, we're gonna get out of Google. We didn't like layer into this kind of a trade. We still are long TQs. I mean, we're long the market from the open. I mean, it's not, it's from 10 o'clock, but it fell back into this space. So that's been a good trade. We can still hold on to that long, but we're not gonna hold on to this Google long, or short, sorry. We got biased into the short on that Microsoft news about their revamping some of their AI offerings and things like that. So that got me sort of excited to short early. We got taken out there, only to find out that we had gotten taken out. We knew our stop was there. I wasn't sure exactly if we got stopped out. We came back in, realized we were out, let it sort of dance around here between 1 o'clock-ish, came back up to that level, hit it again, which was good. So we were happy about that, but now thrice might not be as nice. So we'll wait to see what happens here. Pull back now. What are we short at? We're short at 36s, so it's 42s. But again, very short leash on this one. We'll have to reel that back in if it gets too out of hand here. But Google, my newest position right there coming through. Yeah, they are charms. They're gibbets, but they're like little charms.
Yeah, those are cool.
Surprised I don't have any pictures of them.
I have multiple pairs. I have outdoor Crocs. I have indoor Crocs. My daughter has given me some of her gibbets. That's what I have.
Right.
But if I can get like Buffalo Bills,
Yeah, I mean, I didn't buy my own
Toronto
gibbets.
Blue Jays, and like Maple Leafs, I'll throw those in there for joke.
I like the gibbets.
She wants me to get more. I'm like, I might as well get ones I like. So I just got AMD short because the market broke the high of the day, and obviously that's going to start filling some shorts if you're trying to get them. So VWAP's at 155. But Taz in the chat just says, please look at Walgreens. Only because you said please. Like, that's so incredibly please. You could just yell at us and say Walgreens is having a rough day. I don't know what good to tell you about Walgreens Boots Alliance, as we're supposed to call them. But the good news is it hasn't flat bottom broke. The bad news is, unless you're just sort of sitting in a short trade here, maybe shorting pops into 18, not much you can do, but it is close to a flat bottom break. It's held the low. That's a good news when you're down 2.5%. If the market's at the high and you're at the low, generally speaking, that's a bad thing. Last I checked. So yeah, not a great look for Walgreens there. Unfortunately, some retail's going to be in trouble. So Lucid bounced off 3, and I got it at 2s, and then now it gets to 5, 6, and can't go through. I'll probably reload it if it can bounce off 3 one more time, and then Amazon, Nvidia's making a run at high of the day. Nvidia is my most frustrating stock of the day. I'll check that. Yeah, it's Nvidia. I mean, it could be Nvidia. It could be Carvana. I like both of those to longs, and then breakouts did not work. It's at $920. The other thing about this stock, I sold 10% of my Nvidia at $922 with the intention of dip buying it. I didn't dip buy a single share. And I said it in the morning show, and I'm really just saying it now because a lot of times when you want to buy and hold, and I feel like I'm a buy and hold type person, you get a little bit cute. And at the end of the day, buy and hold can't lose. Oh, before I get to I'm shorting VWAP at Intel. If it gets to VWAP, I want that short in addition to AMD. But I'm probably not going to be making any, unless something crazy happens. Alibaba's just a hold right now. Baba's bounced off VWAP at 81.30, and it's double, triple topped at 81.70. So it's holding up nicely, but not a heck of a lot going on here. As a matter of fact, if it gets to 82, I'm just going to get out of it. I don't see an opportunity or a reason to reload off of VWAP. It's just not moving enough. But Alibaba, still holding its breakout, still love what's going on in the long term, still want to be favoring longs in this stock, just only really giving you like 30, 40 cent scalp trade.
All right, so we're having a very good day, but I guess we got out of Amazon too early. This is our long, Amazon, 184.94. It's at 188. It basically sticky noted exactly what we thought. We wrote down dip buying into this name. We put down 184 support. We took 185. I mean, the way it came down was free money, basically. Dropped $1 straight off the open. It hit that, and there it is right there. And then we wrote down 188 potential support or resistance that we were going to look to break on the upside right there. Wow. I mean, yeah, we got out too early for sure. Needless to say, okay, Google. It's coming back in a little bit there. So let's see if we can get now a little bit of a rain back in. We were about 10 cents away from getting stopped out.
If you activate everybody's.
Less than that. So let's see if that goes back. Oh, yeah, okay, good. If that goes back in right now, 167.20. Maybe we can get a dip buy, but that Amazon is going to absolutely kill me right now. But that's okay. We made money on it, and that's all that matters. The other play there, thank you, Danielle Shea, for talking about this. And it's at the damn high of the day right now. It was another one. Here is another one. This is your PLTR number one sticky note trade of the day, listed right on here, long $24. That's, look what price we have, $24.06 on Palantir. It's at $25.17. It's at the high of the day. We knew this name was going to rally. It's exactly what we wrote on here. Everyone's going to get FOMO, missing it. And yeah, that's Palantir for you. Continues to go higher. I think tonight's going to be a big one, man. And even if it isn't, like right now, the amount that we're up on this, even just since 2 weeks ago, April 19th, I mean, that's cherry picking, so it's the bottom. But even if you were like 2150, or, you know, if you said like, okay, this was some support, you want to go long back here, 2150, you're now 350 in the money on 21. It's a nice move there up to the upside for Palantir. We're going to stay long into the close for that name. Google, we just got hit at 30s there. See if I can zoom that back out right there. We got a little bit of a hit back down into 30. Hopefully we'll continue to drop in for that. And that is if we break the 50-period moving average. And on your crypto trade of the day, I think you could go long now, actually, if you like Coinbase. Look where we are. Like, come on. I'm not trying to sit here, you know, like we always talk about it, you know, get in here the latest, look at charts, hit winners. You know, this is, I look at this, I say, okay. You know, it's kind of the same thing that we talk about when we hit Tesla earlier on, you know, looking for key little levels like that, hitting your Apple down here to the downside. So hitting TQs. Look what Mullen, this is a good example of Mullen. We've already talked about this, but this is another one of just sitting at a level there. Like, this could be a short as well. You have to pay for shorts for Mullen. but that could also be a short. It's just sitting at an even level that's already showed you some kind of support. And if you get run over, you get run over. Like, this could have kept on going, you know? And we have examples like that on Amazon where I got nervous there. At the time, it must have been the 50 period when we broke lower there or something. Or it was just breaking below there. But we got out of our last piece right there. But you see here, you can see where we, whoopsies, wrong lines. I just want to show you one thing about why I don't get FOMO anymore. And I want to thank everybody for liking that tweet that I posted a couple months ago. See, this could keep going, right? And you're like, oh my God, why did I get out there? But like, I'm getting out because we're going back into the pre-market highs off of a dip that's 185, and these are 186.30s and 40s and 50s, because if I don't get out there, look, boom, right, comes all the way back in, and I don't know where I'd get the rest out. So you don't know, like on the way up, where we're going. So get a piece out there, get a piece, and then, yeah, try to do your best to hold something, and then just follow your plan at the end of the day. Like, we always say that, you know, ball don't lie, and shout out to whoever's NBA team is still in the
That's who.
Yeah, thank God. Minnesota deserves
all the
wins. Right
all
there.
the respect for Minnesota. They probably that's one of those teams that's been through a heck of a lot to get to where they are. And Anthony Edwards is an easy guy to love. If you listen to any of his press conferences, he was asked a question: "What is my favorite thing?" What's the one thing you would change about the NBA? And he said, "All these guys doing load management."
Yeah,
that was his answer to the question. I love his game. I love how that guy.
His answer will change in 5 years when he's load management.
Well, I mean, the way he plays physically is going to be tough for him when he's in his late 20s. But he's an absolute stud. I still think it's going to be. I think it's going to go to 7. I'm not sure. I still think they're going to win, but I'm a huge fan of them. I really don't like Gobber, but I love that kid. He's such a freak of a talent. Just a couple of things here. I'm still into Intel, and I said if I got to VWAP, I would reload it, but I did get into AMD, and that was off of VWAP to the downside here. So it popped in this range, top to bottom, since we've come back on, is about 50 pennies. So it's got a 50-cent range at the bottom, and then if you look at it, pretty much all of lunchtime, or half of lunchtime, it was 50 cents at the top here. So inside of the range, we're going to do some scalp trading, and then we're going to see if we can't hold it down into the bottom. I thought I said Nuggets in 7, Kyle. Maybe not 6, but I think the Nuggets are going to win. And that's even to the chagrin of one of my good friends, who is, to his credit, that guy has been a Minnesota fan. I mean, when they were just absolutely god-awful, and he's always stuck through. I can always respect that. A square, I'm getting out at VWAP if we get down there for sure. Still in some Lucid, but Lucid's really, like, it's quiet up here at $3. It's holding, it's up 9%, just not making that big push through the high of the day. 30% short flow, lots of room to go. I'm going to get an offer out in front of 10s because if it pops the high, I should want to take some out on that pop. So I'm going to get some offers out there in case we get a bit of a bump higher. And I'm going to watch out. Bitcoin's starting to make a bit of a move. Yeah, I just noticed BTC, or IBIT I should say, because I'm not really looking at BTC in general. But IBIT just made a bounce here into VWAP. That could be a reason to get to the exit on this block trade if it doesn't start going soon.
We're going to be, the TQs is way up. It's all the way up. Okay, I like that one where we are now on that. All right, yeah, still making, okay, so we got to probably change this. All right, I'm going to get out here on 88. I'm just going to get out on this wick bottom break for the TQQs. So 57, 87. Let's get out of that one. And then honestly, man, just go. People like this animation, so there it is for you. Wow.
You have to explode.
This is a good one. This is a good one here today. I just hope everyone's enjoying the ride. And a shout out to you, Chef Joe. I know that you're a trader like myself and everything, looking to, you know, put some money on the table and make, you know, some real good trades. Thank you for saying that about my explanation of the trading in the morning. You know, that does mean a lot. So the same thing here with Palantir. As it continues to go higher, we're gonna wait on that. But just like we explained what was happening before, we're nailing this one more time here. We'll drop down a little bit more for Google. I don't wanna, because we're above VWAP extended right now, it is tough to go short right now, I feel like. So the fact that we're pulling back into the 50-period moving average, let's just take advantage of that. We got a nice short up there on Google when the market ripped. So we like that short. The reason why we're picking on Google a little bit, market up, Google not. So for me, that is a recipe that I know there's a lot of traders now that are looking at relative strength versus weakness, and I think that that's amazing. So that's something right here that we're going to try to keep looking at, as well as just continue to apply the pressure on names right now that we are looking at. So, you know, besides getting stopped out on that Google trade, today's pretty much been like a perfect day for executions for myself here. So let's just look to see if we can make some more. Intel, you know, again, we've made a lot of money on Intel recently, and I didn't run the numbers during the midday like I was going to, but I ran them last month. I could probably have the same file actually. $30, good little barcode there to the bottom of Intel. So that wasn't bad. I think a breakdown there tomorrow probably decent. I don't think we'll get that now. It's 240. I'm in the very active names. Like I've got the market long. I've got Palantir long, which you can pry from my cold dead hands if you want. Google right here, 167.36. This name could come out, no problem. So we'll see. We can get lucky down to 167, and then this short. So we've got Apple short, we've got Google short. It's a trophy day. We're happy with it. So let's just sit here, relax, and let's see sort of the fruits of our labor start to pay off here into the close. And if any sort of news hits, we're here ready to go. And I'm going to put on some more trades. Just going to search through some scanners. I don't really want to add to Palantir. I think it's too high. Possibly looking at the market here into the close as something. Or like, I know you were looking about crypto and stuff. I think that could be something.
Well, I'm looking at crypto try to bounce. But the good news is, at least for me, like Square is running out of steam. And you looked at Coinbase, that's also relatively weak. So while you are getting a bit of a bounce, it's just fading underneath VWAP. And if that continues to happen, I thought maybe we'd get a shot at the high of the day there and short the same levels. But if it gets to VWAP, that's great. I feel like AMD's got to be the reload, at least for now. Like you were consolidating at VWAP, now you might be consolidating underneath VWAP. It's up 2.5%, but when everything else was at the top, it was lower. So I do want to add to this one. I just realized I'm not even sitting on the offer. We're just going to get back on the offer where we got in there before. So we'll see what's up there. Chris J, Lucid better go to $5.
Let's see.
I'm rather skeptical that that's going to happen. That'd be nice. I mean, it's nice for shareholders, but Lucid at $5, that'd be a heck of a move for them. What did we say the implied was? I thought when you checked, I mean, it's double digits. It was like 14.
They even report.
Yeah, they're tonight. We looked at it. It was 14% maybe.
Oh yeah, 17.8.
17%. Yeah, they were 8. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to ask for it to get to $5 today, or even tomorrow. Yeah, I'm just going to say that's very, very unlikely. But we've seen them squeeze before. Remember, the good thing about this round of earnings, or at least now for some of these EV companies, is suddenly we are looking at maybe a couple of rate cuts. So we're at the point where, okay, no more raising, at least that's out of their mouths at the Fed, and the possibility of those cuts, and you can start to look forward to who's going to be able to make it to the end where the light might be at the end of this tunnel for some of these EV spots. And Lucid's the ones with the endless bankroll. I mean, if the Saudis have the money to throw basically infinite dollars at sports, you know, they can throw infinite dollars at Lucid as well, and that actually is an investment that has a chance to pay off for them. Because if everyone else dies and Lucid survives, great. And it's a squeeze name, 30% short float as well, but it's not going to $30, I don't think. I think, $5, I don't think. I think that's pretty unlikely. Nvidia, wow, $920. This is still like the champ. If we're breaking out this top and it gets to 25, I might decide not to reload on that short of AMD because this is now climbing and looking like it wants to retest that 920. Hertz Scrambler asking if it's strong, too strong to short. I mean, it's the strongest name out there. I would say if you're going to short something, why not short a weak stock instead of a strong one? Like that's continuing to make higher highs and pressing. And as I said, like AMD is just chilling out underneath VWAP right now. Like I'd rather short AMD than Nvidia. I think that's an easy one.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly sort of what Danielle was saying there.
Yeah.
With why not just trade the names that are moving and giving you sort of the juice that you need?
Disney.
I was looking at Lucid, and for me, it's not. I would rather, I mean, into earnings, fine. Oh, what I wanted to bring out to you was, this is actually really cool because I've never seen this happen before. This is changing real time, actually, here. This Lucid was 17, now it's 19.7. I feel like, because it's moving right here on, so I feel like they're updating it. That's Rivian. But now that Lucid's up 9% today and starting to move, I feel like they've updated it since that move. They added a couple.
Which means there's a
percentage
lot
points,
of.
which makes sense because people are starting to get in there and buying options ahead of that. So I just wanted to clarify that it was a little bit higher than we thought. I'm going to keep watching.
I remember
that.
this. Yeah, we should check that at
I'm
like
just going to watch
3:30.
this 19.7. Like if Lucid falls off this level, then that 19.7 should come down a little bit. You guys may remember earlier this morning, by the way, you took out some more Google there at 20, so that was a good one. Earlier this morning, we actually went off a little bit. I talked about ESPN Bet. I talked about why I really liked. Nvidia's at the highs of the day right now, 921. Someone asked Yoel, or was Donnie Zimbabwe actually? What's up, Donnie? Sent a $5 super chat in the morning about can Nvidia get to 920? It's at 920 right now. Congratulations, Mr. Zimbabwe. Yeah, and we also talked about Disney and how I like that name, basing out right there. And I told you, you know, thing is, I don't really have to give a disclaimer because I pretty much own every stock here, pretty much, not Mullen, that I traded today. Every other stock today I traded, I own. But down here, 114, and I'm short Apple and Google. So definitely trading against my own book. 116.75. We talked about this earlier. A name to be on watch today was Disney, ahead of earnings and ahead of getting their stuff sorted out. And the fact that inflation to them doesn't exist because they just charge more money regardless of whatever the economy is doing. And people like us, not me, continue to, but like most people, continue to go to Disney and have a great time and pay for it when you go there. And it's as expected, and I feel like that's just par for the course. And whenever you can have a nonchalant attitude about paying $30 for a ice cold beverage, then
paying a car for a week.
They're in the right business. So, anyways, Disney continues to make new highs here today, up at 116.50. I like the stock.
Well, speaking of high, CGC is not making any right now. Yeah, this is, it just broke $10 to the downside. Thank you, Dan McIsaac, for pointing this one out. We haven't really traded this today. We were trading basically this and ACB almost every single day. And now that $10 is under threat, let me just give you the flat bottom break here. It's 10.01 was the previous low. So you currently have a wick underneath 10 to 91 as the bottom. If it can break back and hold underneath, I'm not going, like I don't want to short this thing at a wick bottom like that at the 10 even where it could catch a bid. But if it can make a fresh low underneath that, then I'll join that one to the south side. So giving up a little bit after a strong rally the last couple of days, but that $10 level under threat here for CGC, just double checking on AMD because I think that's coming back up and looking to reload on advanced micro devices. Okay, maybe not just yet. Still about 25 cents away from the top of the range here on AMD. But that CGC starting to look a little bit nasty. And, BJZ saying they're one of those Disney families that spend $30 on a beer.
There we go.
Yeah, but
that's what I said. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
No, my barber was like, he just recently took, I think it was last year, he took his daughters there.
Yeah, I want to take my
And he said, look, it's ridiculously expensive, and the lines are really long, but you do it because you want to take the kids at least once in their lifetime. But all he told me was like, wait until they're at an age where they'll be okay with the lines and that kind of stuff so they can actually enjoy it.
Yep.
And so he waited till they're at least a little bit older. Like, I don't think I'd take my daughter at 7, but we're going eventually. I know that truth.
Yeah, no, this is the right time. You should be going now. I think you should go now.
Well, I've heard like 9-10 is probably like right in the pocket.
Disney. Okay, right here, look at this. Yeah, BJZ, that's the whole point. Go Disney. As a shareholder, I really think that's what I was saying as a good point to it. It's like when you go to these sporting events, like nobody actually wants to, you know, you go there, it's fun to sit there and watch. At the same time, it's most people like to sit there and watch with a beverage. So they can, or a hot dog or whatever, and you just get more money. So I like that. Investing, even in Live Nation, Madison Square Gardens, things like that. I like that whole experience-themed investing, honestly. Like we've talked about Airbnb, they have different kind of problems because they're in such a new business. I mean, 162 actually, maybe they're fine after all, but they're in a different kind of business where they're brand new. So they got to do a lot of legislative stuff that they can, you know, licensing and things like that in such a new business. But Airbnb continues to work as well. I mean, talk about short on time, long on money. That's the attitude right now of North America. And honestly, like everything is so expensive. You guys know that when you go out. All right, and just to enjoy yourself, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Like golf, boom, up. Everything, ticket prices, everything up. Food up, like everything. What's up goes up and goes up. There it is right here, 167.32. We did reload. We just reloaded a little bit, but now we're starting to get a decent position. Our stop is not far away from where we are right now. We've talked about getting stopped in the 50s, so we'll take a couple reloads there in the 40s, have this thing fall down, take a 32. Let's just see what winds up happening right now as we continue to move lower, lower, lower. Right now on this, we do have our out for the market, which is coming in pretty soon. I mean, we could change it to 95. Let's still respect this 90 break right there. And honestly, let's hope the market crashes right now for us, just because we're in Google. It's our most reloaded position. 80 cents in the money on Apple, and right now out flat on Google, but let's see where it goes.
Yeah, I want short.
Yeah,
Like
we're short.
No, the longs are, I mean, Lucid doesn't care. It's a $3 play. If it breaks 3, I'm out for a 3-cent hit. Alibaba, I'm not adding to Alibaba. I've already said this. You know, it either holds VWAP and gives me the highs in front of 82 or pretty much nothing. And the last thing I want to just get was CGC, which it's consolidating lower. I was saying I'll take the break if it breaks the low and give it to 10. But it's giving a consolidation here at 10, which is setting up a trade as well, where I just give it to the 10-10 level. Either way, that's still 10 cents on CGC. So remember, it is obviously good news recently with CGC, but the squeeze was pretty big going into it. And this little retracement here, I understand it could always bounce off 10, but 10 cents worth of risk, that is a wild range you've got underneath, down to about 820, 830. I don't think it necessarily happens today, but it already gave you one leg to the downside here that I want to try to respect here. Is it the tippy top in the market? Well, I think we're going to find out. I love the fact that this bull market is so strong. But you show me Apple not participating. I mean, were it not for that news, Microsoft wouldn't have been participating today, because Microsoft was actually, at the moment, Microsoft was weaker than Apple when that AI news hit for them. They were right at the low of the day at that point. And all of a sudden, these guys are starting to go a little bit here. So it's not necessarily everybody. Tesla's creeping underneath VWAP, super strong all morning, and now it's got some lower highs on it. So it's not as if all cylinders are being fired off. And we've seen this the last, call it 2 weeks or so, where the play, if we're not screaming to new highs, then there's shorts available, no question about it. So I like CGC, still trying to get a reloaded VWAP on AMD, but you can kind of see it's just consolidating lower for us there. And long Tesla, I don't know if I want to go long Tesla. Not where it is.
I'll just reference sticky note here for Tesla. We had written down 185.85, so we can go back over to that. We talked about this earlier. We got out of the way of Tesla once it did break in and around here. But yeah, I don't mind it off this level, actually, this little 200 period right there for Tesla. So there could be something there for sure. But as Neil was mentioning, could be a difficult trade at the same time as well. So let's wait on Tesla. We were really long, and then we were thrown around in there. So we'll wait on it. We're still green on Tesla, so it's not like we have anything to worry about on it, but definitely something to look at. All right, so what's starting to go back up to the upside is, it's too bad, I just found out my son just got rebooked into a golf lesson today, so that should be fun. We'll see if we can.
Weather's great.
It starts at 5:30, oh well. We'll stay late for all the traders out there, and make sure you check me out on the recap show. One more. Great minds think alike. on that one. So stay tuned for that tonight. We'll have Michael Noss coming through. And yeah, you know what? I'll go to pick him up. We'll stay late for you guys. We'll go to pick him up afterwards and see what's going on with that. Amazon, I see the note there in the chat about trying to go short. The fact that we were long down here has left sour taste in my mouth. I am not going short on Amazon. We had actually written down on here that we'd like a 188 long break. So if that could happen, then yeah, that's what I'd like to have happen. So Amazon on that situation for me would be a long break of 188, not a short into it. But I don't necessarily think that that's a horrible idea to do that, but not for this guy, not on Amazon. So we'll wait, maybe even for a long break. But right now, I did not reload Google. We just had an opportunity to do that. I'm going to let this sort of mingle here. I feel like it's going to break higher. The market's starting to go. We've already put our stop in for the TQQs. We could put a stop in for Apple here. We only have that 10% left. It's not huge. But let's just do that at the 200 period so that at least we are trading with stops. So that's 181.36, so we're not too far away. I'm canceling right now this stop that's in here, 182. So we'll cancel that one, and we'll go right here, 181. What did I say? We're only 60 cents in, so 181.30. Let's go 181.41. So there, cancel out of Apple. It's the minute we take that 200 period.
Meta's taking us higher here.
Meta's taking us higher. We just got out of something else.
It looks
there.
like a second ago it was Nvidia that was, I mean, Nvidia did break 20s. It's at 21, now 22, but it's Meta that's going, because Nvidia went $2, Meta's just gone $3 to the upside. I just got into CGC, so hopefully the wheat stocks don't care about this. And maybe for the time being, we'll get off of VWAP for a second and let this move for a little bit here on AMD. But wow, Meta, super powerful move on Meta. After that, call it like little squash down on earnings, that was it. Like the bottom on earnings was, I mean, like a hero low at $410. And ever since then, it's just been step up. And now you're going to try to fill in this entire gap, probably tomorrow or at least this week into 475. So congratulations, Meta. Yet another name that I think for most people, if you're like myself and you thought this was the start of something beautiful for dip buyers, if you didn't literally dip buy the morning after on the down move on earnings, you missed Nvidia, you missed Meta, you missed ARM. I'm just talking about the things that I missed. There's something else in there that I'm forgetting. But there's probably a couple of others that fall into this category. But wow, good look, Meta. I'm going to go back on over to CGC, which it's holding out. We got in at twos. Now, the reason I don't have fives, and part of the reason I got a little bit late, we had to pay for locates on this. I kind of forgot that. As I was getting the orders in, trying to get fours, I was able to grab some twos in here to the short side. Low of the day is at 91. That makes a fresh low. I'm going to get some out here. CGC down 3%. I'm going to make an assumption that like Tilray and all the other cohorts are probably giving a little bit back after that big cannabis run. Yeah, Tilray at the low of the day. ACB, pretty much the same thing, spiking down to the bottom. Yeah, great run for them, but hey, when they go up that fast, you know that you can have days like this as people learn to take profits on the cannabis names.
You have to take, we had talked about those levels there on CGC and stuff like that they were relatively juicy. I was going to say high up. I'm trying to think of a different word to use right there. Yeah,
come on, Boeing.
Oh, no, Boeing is going?
No, I just heard it.
That's the easiest one, Boeing.
No, FAA is opening a new inquiry into Boeing. Like, are you?
Another one?
Are you kidding?
I just heard something in my ear, and I was like, let me take this out because it was too loud.
No, but it's just so frustrating because every single day I say the same thing. Can we just go 1 week without bad news? Just 1 week.
Boeing made a huge move back up.
Just 1 week.
Oh, God, yeah. Attention Adara. Oh, no.
Seriously,
Wrong
Boeing?
time.
Oh, for the love of
God, Boeing. Oh, no. Company employees falsifying some kind of records here. This is not good.
It's not good at all.
Oh, darn. Yeah, wrong time here. You know what? I can just try a little piece because we're definitely in this late. Oh, no. Oh, man, damn. damn.
We're at the
Yeah, okay, here we go. All right, so we're in now. What is that little gap level right there? I'll just give this a little bit of a shot here, 180.5. So here we go. This will probably stop out, but let's just wait to see here.
No, it's not.
Sometimes when there is smoke, there can be that proverbial fire. So we'll wait to see what happens right. Chill. Bang right there. That's the kind of stuff that we're talking when we put that earpiece in. And here we go, Boeing. Here we go. On for another move to the downside right now. Okay, now we're starting to go. Let's go, Boeing. How does $1.50 sound on this trade? How does $1.80 sound on this trade? We're starting to go lower, lower, lower. We're basically at the high of the day for us right now as we are getting locked and loaded here with Boeing. Nice move downside here for BA off that 180. I mean, you heard where the stop was, and that is now well shorted, I guess. I mean, I don't know where we're going to bounce. We just got that bottom right there at 177. Wow, now we're really going 176 and change. Let's go. That is your chicken dinner winner. Now $3 in the money on this one. I'm sure you mentioned it as well. Where you got this short or what's going on?
No, I just missed it by 20 cents, and Spirit also dying as well. So down.
Damn.
These guys are down as well, breaking the $32 level
we in
on
the
Spirit.
building.
Did we just get it? No, I didn't get the break on Spirit's way more thin.
Oh.
Yeah, I just didn't get the break at 32. I'm going to sit here. Do I get picked up? It just got picked up on the way back in. But
Thank you,
175 now on Boeing. Oh, goodness. This stock is, they're in a lot of trouble. They're in a lot of trouble. Oh, that's so bad. That's so bad for Boeing. I don't even know what to say. Like, that's falsifying records was a headline. Something along those.
Guys,
I got to double check. It's something about falsifying.
I don't even know. The craziest part about all of this is I didn't even have the story. Like, I saw that down. Neil's like, Boeing's going to the downside. I'm just like, put it in, heard something, and bang. The rest is history for Boeing. Man, thank you so much. I mean, this is honestly, guys, wow. This is exactly what we're talking about here. You're not going to find, honestly, show me another show that did something like this, boom, where their trader takes this. Like, that's a good show right there. Good move. If you like this down at 175, grab it. I'm just going to hold on. We've already gotten out of 2/3 of this trade. So boom, boom, right there. Nice move to the downside. Let's wait and see where we go on this one. Okay. We've been recently getting some sponsors, so let's go over to it. Check this one out. Today's show is brought to you by Blue Chew. Guys, remember the good old days? Very important. When you were always ready to go. Well, those days don't have to be over. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in convenient chewable tablets at a fraction of the cost. Sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and you'll receive your prescription discreetly delivered, that's the key, to your door within days. No awkward doctor visits, no waiting in line at a pharmacy. Blue Chew tablets are made in the good old USA and shipped directly to you. And we've got a special deal for you here at Trader TV Live, as we always do. At checkout, try Blue Chew free when you use the promo code TraderTV and just pay $5 shipping. Visit bluechew.com with that promo code TraderTV, all capitalized, and go check out their website.
There you go. Don't be like Boeing. That's all I got to say. Check out Blue Chew.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, come on.
So I told, this is what we do. This is what we do.
Although, like,
I can just, being honest, I never use any of those things, you know what I'm saying? But it doesn't mean you can't use it, you know?
Everybody needs a little help sometime. That's all I got to get at. At the end of the day, you just want to be happy in life. And I'm not happy. Like, I'm happy you're in the Boeing short, and I'm happy it's working. But man, am I pissed off at that company for real. No, it's almost like it's not funny. Like, oh my goodness, Boeing. We'll probably have to.
175. I think I might just put a bid there.
No, it's like $175 on Boeing. We haven't even looked at it. We looked at a daily chart or a weekly chart because we really should. I'm going to get out of CGC if it breaks the 950. I'm going to put a trailing stop. But Boeing was just doing this nice little recovery. Look at the hammer candle and recovery on the up week, so last week. Oh my goodness, did we just make a temporary bottom? And the second it looks like we could be back through 180, punching through a resistance level, another negative headline hits, and the trend to the downside continues. So, I mean, 120 would be a great price, but 2022 lows? Like, what else do you have down? You have nothing on the weekly chart until it gets to, I mean, there's a wick here at 160, and there's 120 bucks. Kind of hoping I don't have to make that decision in my personal account. But I remember, and there was a moment when I told myself, oh, you should just sell Boeing at 270 or something, and you like GE Aerospace, so why not make that switch, Neil? Well, I didn't. And the rest, as they say, is history. So it's all good. But let's see what's up with this market, because we were churning into the highs. Not that Boeing turned things, but Meta had actually taken the NASDAQ through the, or at least to the highs. You saw Nvidia had broken the top as well. Nvidia's back at 920, and the NASDAQ failed to punch through. The ES failed to punch through the highs. Sometimes you get like one piece of bad news, and that's all it takes. Everything was churning higher at that moment. Wow.
Oh, man. I just saw a, you see, look at this. Okay, so just right here, Boeing's still back to $3. I'm not, it's kind of like how you can, I mean, the market might pry Palantir from my cold, dead hands, whatever I said before, because it's going to come back a little bit here. But look at this, America's largest theme park companies, right? So this is Disneyland Paris by itself. So you could just go in here and see, this is everything all combined. So Disney is 7.8 billion, and then it's just like, yeah, thanks for coming out, basically. Universal gets a lot of push because it's located right beside Disney, so that's very smart of them to do that. There's a Universal there on the east and the west coast, as we all know about that. And then I guess over here in Tokyo, I guess there's a Universal there. So they're all around, and then of course pretty soon probably as well. But shout out to Disney, still kicking and really doing well off that 8. I mean, that's where we're long. Like I think it's about 90 bucks, like 88 and change. I have to find out what the best price is.
I've actually been to both in the States.
Yeah, I've been to Disney and I've been to Universal. And
Disneyland. I was out in California.
Oh, in California?
I've been out in California, yeah.
I've been to Busch Gardens. That's when I rode the elephant that everyone was like, no, you didn't. But, oh yeah, I have pictures of that, by the way. I was talking with my
Who said no, you didn't?
I know. Oh, Randy. Okay, there we go. Ramin said Randy did.
Oh, Randy said
yeah, so I don't know.
What? We'll put.
What do you mean? Ramin said that Randy said that, so I'm blaming Randy.
Fine.
It doesn't. Even if Randy didn't say it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Randy's all good.
I mean,
okay, so.
No, it's like,
No,
look, Disney's definitely winning.
Off your mic, it's echoing in my.
Oh yeah, Ram's mic is echoing apparently. So blast off on
She
Disney.
was whispering me sweet nothings, but no.
I'll be happy with it.
What
Anybody that's into it. Star Wars had their new. They had some new shows come out.
Oh yeah, you had mentioned. Let's go Google.
I'm biased, but the trailer for Acolyte blew my mind, and I'm excited to watch. And my daughter was like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Well, it's a little violent, sweetheart. We got to get through. We just finished. Like we're halfway through Return of the Jedi." I'm like, Ewoks, they were one level, and then the stuff you see in the newer Star Wars is a different level. Like, Rogue One is a war movie. Acolyte looks like it's a little bit more action-based, which I think could be a heck of a lot of fun. MC1R, should we send apology letters to investors of companies that we short and make money intraday? No.
Yes, you should do that immediately.
I mean, you can do it for fun if
Sorry,
you want
Boeing.
to. No, you can do it for fun, but let's be real for a second. I own Intel, short that stock. I own Square. I don't actually have much. Like Square I bought a while ago, and I still have like 10% of whatever I originally owned. So realistically, I don't really own that much of it, but you short stocks that you own all the time. I don't own any CGC. I own AMD. I'm short that right now. Day trading is very different. Like there is a vast difference being some hedge fund or somebody that shorts billions of dollars and holds things for weeks and years and all that stuff, and you take a short trade and you're out of it in a half an hour, or you're out of it in 20 minutes, or you're out of it in an hour and a half. You have to buy that stock back at the end of the day. So yeah, there's some momentum to it, but anyone that acts like it's the same thing, it's just no, you don't have to do that unless you want to send a letter for fun. You know what's in giggles. That's up to you.
Yeah, just do it for your own mental. Obviously, don't do it for any other reason other than that. So do not waste your time. It might be fun to do. I'm not apologetic. because we own Google. We own a lot of shares of Google. But right now we're short Google and printing a little bit here into the close. It has been not a huge day by any stretch of the imagination around here, but we've been hitting it. We're higher than our daily goal, but we'd always like to get a little bit higher than that as well. So yeah, this side will be green here. So that was a good trade today on most of these stocks. We're only going to have, we still are actually red. We're going to have one red name, and it is this Google trade because of this stop out right there. Like loaded up there, loaded up on the 200 period and got stopped out. We're making it now back. We're not making it all back, but this is going to be the one red name for us today. So we'll go, with Apple, again, big trade there for sure on that short and still in that one. Amazon is the trade of the day, just not the hold of the day. So that's 2 for 2. I mean, Boeing, that's 3s. We talked about Google. Mullen. I mean, you guys want to talk about real trading? Let's just, if you want to break down all of our trades, we'll just go one by one. And so we're trying to do that now. There's Mullen right there. It's not hard to see. There's Palantir at the bottom there as well. So that's another one. I've lost track now what we're at. There's TQs. Let's go 6 for 7. And then here's Tesla 7 for 8. So, I mean, today is not a Friday, but today is a good day. So there it goes again for one more time into the close. It's power hour right now, and we're really confident in everything that we have. Like, we're so confident, like, that this Boeing trade, we're just going to hold on to it. Like, that's the day. Here's Google. You want, like, all right, so, yeah. Our TQs, we're going to get, all right, let's just change this now because now we're just going. So here we go, 94s. So let's change this stop right here. We go from 87s to 94s. 94, enter. We'll get out of this one. I mean, for everybody joining for the first time, thank you so much. And I just hope that you can now see, as I just break down every single symbol that I've been in all day, where the profit lies, right? And to show you that these trades are pretty simple, the risk to reward is monstrous, and it's led us to where we are, and it's been a good ride. Oh wow, here's Google all the way to the downside again. Let's just punch a little bit out. There we go. We'll just immediately punch some out there at 03. There's Google to the downside. Maybe after all, maybe we can put this one in our pocket, see how low this one can go, and maybe turn this name green. And then have that special day that we're hoping for. So far, so good. What's up to everybody in the chat? I hope you guys are enjoying the show and having a great day.
Yeah, having a great day is always when you get to do what you love or like something you enjoy. I see you, Elon, there. You're like, cheer up, Neil. But I only whine and you know what about Boeing. It's for fun. Like, let's be real. I say it because I think I made a mistake in my long-term account. So I don't mind harping on myself. I don't take myself all that seriously. I think if you do, you find yourself in a world of hurt. So, like, I'll joke around when I sit there and say, well, this is what I should do in Boeing, blah, blah, blah. And it was literally the high when I said that on Boeing on the show, and I didn't do anything about it. But the reload, just going back over to the market here, because Square did come back into the highs, tagged the top. This is now a triple top in Square. It's 72.60. So I reloaded the short out in front. My price is 56. And it gets them out 40s and then 20s. And still think VWAP can be in play as, I mean, we're still doing the same dance here in Bitcoin, right? Like, this is IBIT, but you're getting to VWAP and you're curling lower every single time. We just keep curling. So we're back in at the same level. It took a while for it to get back up to the highs. CGC, I'm just going to let ride at this point. Like, either we get down to 950 and we go $10 to 950, or we don't. I'll give this one to 985. As the weed name's definitely in some trouble, to be sure. You know, I think they're still kind of well within the upward trend in the pocket, but if you look at the way this retracement's happened, I wouldn't be surprised. CGC could be down at like $8, $8.50. If you're looking at ACB, you know, that could easily be down at like $5.50, $6. You wouldn't even have broken these big lower highs here, the 50-period moving average. But those are some levels that I think are coming into play. So we're in CGC. That's the one we decided to trade. And as I mentioned, the only thing that got to the high for the reload when the markets got up there was going to be Square. So we just grabbed 72.5, already starting to take some out into the downside here. If we get VWAP, I'm all out in front of VWAP. It is now, we're well into power hour with about 40 minutes to go, 45 minutes to go. We'll see about the imbalances a little bit later on. But part of the story is the market unable to break into new highs. So no longs for me at this point outside of still in Alibaba. But I said I would not add to this position. And if it broke underneath support, we just get out. I'd already scalped out in front of 81.70. So Baba, still love you, Alibaba, but you might be done for the day. Baba could turn red on the day, which it hasn't really done the last little bit. It's been holding green pretty much every single day in this late rally that it's been having.
All right. We just took some more out there. Google just dropped in again. So we do have some bids there. We'll take another bid if it gets into that 94 one more time. All right. Other than that, you know, we talked about Palantir. And again, like you guys want these trades. Easy to understand, easy to execute. This Palantir one was a $24 dip buy. We wrote down to the penny down here what we were doing. Lucky enough to get it. Nice move back. What do you guys want to talk about? All right, I mean, I can look at, let me look at Bitcoin here quickly because now it's 62.8 and starting to go lower. We were going to look at Coinbase there. Maybe we could do that. I mean, we're short Google. Let's go. Like if this market falls in, man, we already got our outs. Like we're short. So fine. Hold on a second. I just got to make sure I don't have any outs other than the stop orders. All right, so here we go. So here is a, let's go to a 15-minute chart just to have a little bit of a better look to see exactly what's happening with Bitcoin. So yeah, I mean, 65.5 pretty much is 5:45, 6 o'clock. So yeah, so we came back in from this morning. Nice little dip buy off there. We talked about it rejecting that earlier when we came in. Now you're starting to break below. This is not going to be that great. 62.3, this is 61 again. Let me zoom back out a little bit here just to see. Okay, so really, again, 57.58 is really where the bids are. So we'll see if we get something down to $57, $58 right there for BTC USDT. So, I mean, good move there. I feel like we break lower right now. So we go from here over to, let's go, man. Let's go. Get down, baby. All right, let's see what's going on here. I'm just watching, like the net right now is kind of just doing this as we wait for Google to do what it's doing. Apple ticks down a little bit and Boeing it's really just Boeing that's trying to figure it out. Yeah, I know, jack of all trades. That's the craziest part about all of this. How am I long TQs and short Apple? You know what the crazy thing is? Is like, it's not even like this is something that we just came up with. Like right here, again, from the morning, if you're watching out for the sticky note in the morning, what's up? This is Elon and some Palantir stuff here. This is exactly what we talked about. Look at this. I am bias long the NASDAQ, right? Bias long the NASDAQ. See sticky note idea number 2, short Apple. You know, sometimes you need to be a little mad up here in order to win on the floor, which is probably why we've had the longevity and the success that we've had. And there's Palantir long at $24 as well, which are those trades that we had talked about. There's the 1Q84 support level there for Amazon that we took. We're not in Square, and then Tesla as well to the downside. So yeah, man, sometimes you have to be a little, a little anxious and a little bit, excited to trade to be able to come in and try to hit some of those levels. So on IBIT right there, looks like we just bounced. We were looking at that bounce, right?
Just broke low of the day.
Yeah, it just broke the low of the day. Yeah, bouncing there off this 50-period moving average on a 20-minute chart.
What was the price on Bitcoin at that bottom?
Was 61 and change? I'm not sure.
I think it was maybe 62.
Where we just broke.
That's the thing. When you look at IBIT, I look at IBIT all the time. I like the bounce play on even
62.7.
even dollar levels. Had it been like 62 even, I might be in like a retracement trade there.
We just got filled on Google.
But I appreciate you, Manny. Thank you for the super chat in there. Some coffee money for tomorrow morning. Great to see you guys again. Great to see you, Manny D. We appreciate you. And now you can like the super chats in there. So I'll just go ahead and do that. YZ here. What do I think of PanW? I love PanW. I don't really trade PanW as a day trade, but I do love the stock. We've sort of mentioned the 260 level post earnings on PanW. That has been, I mean, if in terms of like earnings levels, that's one of the cleaner ones because this got $120 off the highs in a 260 and then bounced off it twice, and now you're breaking this back out. So the bull run looks like it's trying to continue here. It might take out 300 today and then get through these local highs. Above the 50, above the 200, above support, like me some PanW. I know there was some other names people have asked us about in terms of cybersecurity, like Sentinel recently, but this is the only one I own. And I don't know if that'll all, I mean, obviously there's other names that are adjacent to the space. I mean, like Oracle, everyone has a little something in cybersecurity, but in terms of focus, PanW is the one for me. And the 260 level was the only buy I've had recently on the stock in the last year.
All right, yeah, PanW is a good one. I've been buying that name forever, but yeah, same thing. We just reloaded that one at those levels down there and got a little bit more shares. So that was an exciting opportunity down there off earnings for Pan. Good out, we got that 94, we talked about that. And like I said, if the market wants to rip, fine by me. It's more this Boeing trade. I kind of watched this VWAP. Now we're starting to get down here. I still have that 180.50 as my target to get out. I'd rather not let's go 180. Let's go right where this is. I don't think we're going to get up there anytime soon or anything like that. But okay, so Apple just comes out, which is again completely fine, breaking the 200 period. Good stock. P&L 2 today. Apple. Palantir 1. Apple 2. Amazon 3. Mullen 4. Boeing 5. I guess temporarily, and then this TQ trade that we're still in. Right there. And then Tesla, we wound up just basically mulling over a flat kind of a day there with that. So out on there. All right, what else is up? Anything else you guys want to talk about? CRM. We can look at Nvidia because we haven't really been on that today. So we'll have a quick look over at Nvidia and see what's up with that right now. So that would be something to look at. All right. I don't know, I mean, you're still at the highs. It still looks like it's doing what it wants to do here in those levels.
CRM is concerning on the daily chart.
Buy. I was just checking something out there. All right. Sorry, CRM?
Well, the thing I don't like about CRM's chart is it's similar to, we were just talking about PanW. It's similar to PanW, but not in the good part. Like you had the move down, it was already made a high, and then it rolled over on earnings. But then it's been making lower lows and lower highs since then, which is not what you want to see. So like there's your first bounce was at 280, and now you're bouncing underneath 280. Look, if it gets back above the 285 level, I think it'll be fine. But I don't like that on CRM. Not really much happening today. It's a very inside day for CRM. I'd be a little bit cautious with that one. Got to get over to Square here because we just reloaded Square, obviously. We just mentioned that to you guys and got some out there at the 40s. Now it's trying to run the high of the day, which, as you can see, is right here. It has yet to break it, but any second now, it's a couple of ticks, and we're going to break that high of the day. Thankfully, we're able to get some out there. Might not see VWAP as block, up 4.5% after earnings and looking to take the top off. If you keep shorting the high, eventually it could break. But remember, this is that big lower high that held all day long. Well, obviously it held all day long because like this was a high at 10 o'clock on Square, and then it got absolutely trounced. But I'm out through 66, not going to add one more time. I just saw Bitcoin take out the lows, and Square seems to want to go back into the high. So we're scalping it this entire way on Square, but this time it's going to take out the top there. The incredible Mr. Lib wants to know about DAL. And we'll save that reported today. I'm not an airline. I've never invested in an airline in my entire life. I'm a Canadian who's never owned like Air Canada or anything, and I understand how important they are. But what I would tell you is the Delta chart is one of the most chill upward trends that you see in the market right now. I'm just not an airline guy, but I mean, what would you not like about Delta at this moment? That's one heck of a V-shape that just took out the top at 50 and hasn't even done any kind of a pullback. It's up 2.5%. I know Spirit Airlines took a you-know-what today, a big L, but that has been zero problem for Delta, which is now through, 52-week high got broken, the 3-year high just got broken out, and it just continues to work. But, my issue about the airlines is they're just, every few years, you're under trouble with the airlines. And so you're trying to pick it. You just have to really know them very well and understand that business very well because it's so ridiculously cyclical. It's not like I can just buy Apple and forget about it for a very long period of time. I don't think you can do that with the airlines.
Yeah, you're right because of everything, all the fuel costs, all the international tension all over the place. rates and people not traveling and traveling. Yeah, there's lots of stuff to worry about there. Yeah, I don't really trade those too much either. All right, so right here, Nvidia, I want to go long. Like, I feel like this break is fine for me. Like 922.25, if we can get back in there, fine. Or try to look at this bottom right here with getting out at 918 if we break that, or maybe even 917. So looking to dip by something in and around 919. If that can come in, we'll do that immediately. We did take another piece out on Google here on a 167 break higher right there, but it's coming back in, so that's fine. We still got $1.70 in the money here on Boeing. We've changed this to 180. So that's pretty much where we are right there, 179.90 on the 50 period. We use that as a momentum changer, so we could actually even put this at 179.50. Why don't we just do that right now? Well, we'll wait for 180. Let's just wait for 180. Okay, so we'll wait for that one. And then what was the other name? Nvidia, right. So that's, I want to go long this name. It's been so good. And, to sit here and just watch it continue. It's sort of barcoding right now. I know it's 325, but again, the kind of day we're having is one of those days. I don't want to give it all back. We definitely won't do that. We will properly risk this. But yeah, 922 break. I want to go long on that. So if we break that high of 922.25, my order's already in. It'll get me long. And then we'll also dip by into 919 against 917, basically. I mean, we'll look back. We'll probably make that Google out. Like the only name we're red on today is that Google where it hit the high and then we got us out. So I don't want to look back and say 915 is the low, but the amount of shares we'll take, we're happy with getting out in and around here, 917 or so, if we're wrong on a dip buy opportunity. If we're wrong on a break of Nvidia, then we'll probably just use 920 as our out. So we're well here, well done, and planned out for our next couple trades. The NASDAQ's going to come out when it does. We could always put this at the 50 period, but I think we're underneath it or close enough. I mean, we're watching the NASDAQ right here, which is why I'm not too focused on the TQs. We already have our stop of a break right there. And then Palantir is still $1 in the money, and we're still watching out that as Mullen. Again, like we'll take that fill all the time, and we are bigging ourselves up for that fill. I know we got a lot of props for this fill from Adara and Obi there on the midday, but now it's starting to break a little bit higher through 640. So congrats to everybody else that held on to Mullen. You're doing it, man, right into that level on the daily. So again, for me, this would be an area to get out, but I'm already out. So we'll wait to see what happens here with MULN. Congratulations to everybody. Everybody that had Mullen, everybody that had Boeing. This is why you're here, and I'm trying to put these trades on for you.
Yeah, that's what it's all about here. I mean, right before Boeing, there was like CGC broke down, and actually there was no news on that one. It was just a volume spike that Dan McIsaac mentioned to me. And we knew this was a stock we were interested in. You get the volume spike at the low of the day through, and you set up a trade for it. It holds a $10 level. We had to pay for locates, but they're essentially free at Real Trading. 1/8 of 1 cent per share is what we pay on CGC. Give the short to 10.02 to 10.10. So it's 8 or 9 cents worth of risk. We take some out when it goes just past 1-to-1. We take some out at 9.75, and then now it's a nice consolidation short. If it breaks down another time, we'll try to get 950s and then work with that. Shop is yet another high of the day. You're right, Frank Jones. Looking very good. Shopify. So much respect for that stock. Up 3.5 points. And the good thing about Shopify, there's your 200, there's your 50 period, there's your resistance at 25 bucks. So we'd always talk about like the trend is your friend. That was in a distinct downward trend. Big time wick high. Lower highs underneath the 50 period. You held support exactly where long-term traders tend to like it, which is that 200 period moving average, and now you're breaking out above the 75 level. Why not? Like, I like it. And on top of that, look at it today. Like today it lit, grabbed, and probably trapped some people failing that 75 level. So if you were like, anybody that was bearish on the stock, that's a bit of a short trap under 75, and then you're continuing to climb higher. So I think that's exactly the kind of stock you want to look trend above that 75. Good look there. Yeah, they had an upgrade as well. Boring man, Shopify. But ultimately, if you like technicals, stick to technicals, and that's one that we're going to get the goods on in a couple of days. They report this week on it's actually pre-market on Wednesday, so we're going to get Shopify pre-market, and then it doesn't mean they're going to have to continue, but I like the fact that they've already fired the first salvo. Like, I will be favoring long trades on Shopify, no question. As far as Nvidia goes, I see a couple of people in the chat talking about Nvidia. It's really slowed down volume-wise. My worst trade today is going to be long Nvidia twice. I actually had this conversation with the trading floor manager. We were both in it. We both liked the long, but the breakouts just weren't quite as clean and as easy as they were some other times, where you take the break and it just goes right away. It wasn't one of those on Nvidia, but it is still churning higher. I just don't love the fact that the volume's starting to taper off as we get into the last 30 minutes of the day here. I find if you're trying to grab highs this late in the day when the volume's not really with you, not the best of strategies. So just CGC we're hanging on to. I'm still in that Intel trade as well, guys. That one continues to fall. And you know, we joke around about what Boeing's looking like. This can't get back to VWAP, which is never a good sign for me. If you have a liquidity vacuum on news or a technical break or just something along these lines, we have a big, massive volume spike. It doesn't have to be this drastic, but when a hard bottom gets made and it doesn't even get to VWAP, a lot of times that can be a very weak sign, I've found. Like sometimes you get all the way back in here, you test 180, then you roll it over. No, this is rolling in. This is rolling over in all the wrong spot. And on the daily chart, it's like even worse as well. Rivian Millionaire, what was your entry from this morning on Nvidia? Sure, we can go over that pretty quick. If you're watching the live show, you know exactly where that was. It was a 900 breakout trade. I had it a couple of times here. The only thing different about the 900 trade from what I've been doing recently is it wasn't that double top. And that's the thing I have to go back over, because really when I've been talking about the breakout in Nvidia working in the morning, I wasn't just taking it at an even dollar level. What was actually, as I said, like 12 for like 14, was when it showed me a false break of the low and then just like a double top, either the pre-market high or the opening range high. The opening range high break was actually 896. So if I was going, and actually I'm thinking about this in real time, if I'm looking at the strategy that had been paying me on Nvidia for breakouts, then I'm long an 896 break, not 900. So, you know, I'll flat the fail on that, because it was not about just randomly picking a number. You'd see me some days long like 916 half, 930, like random prices oftentimes, like 866. It was always something random because it would always be a very specific like double top setup where like you get a wick high, it doesn't break the bottom, and then you take this break right in here, whatever it happens to be. That's 881. But this time I just said no 900 even, and that ended up being the wrong call. The timing could have been better. Obviously the long is going to be good in this particular case, but it's not just about, I think it's a long today. I thought it was a long today. We had someone say thank you for the Nvidia call out in the long. I'm like, hey, I'm glad you had a great execution plan. Now looking back on it, I can say I took the wrong break. If I wanted a breakout trade, it was at 896 that I should have taken it and not at 900. The dip buy, different story.
All right. Well, we're in Nvidia right now. So 919.03 bidding long right now on Nvidia. Well, we're long now. So we were just missed that bottom as we prepare for the recap show. We should have been bidding 918. So I just went there right now. I didn't like. That was the whole point, is against the 200 period. So we should have got a little bit more down there. So we missed that opportunity. But, you know, we're still here, man. A good trade there as well for Google. Like, let's go. Let's just continue to put up these numbers for you guys. Like I said, we don't do the leaderboard around here anymore, but it's a good one, man. I'll shut it out. I mean, shout out to OB who's on there. Shout out to Patrick. We got some good trades happening here today. So good trading today across the board for sure. You know, it's been something. Palantir hasn't done much in the after show right now. I mean, I wish it would move a little bit more. We're going to try to hold this into the close, which we're doing right now. We could have bought more off the 200 right there, but we didn't. So that would have been something to look at. Okay, so now we're in to Nvidia. Again, this is just one of those shots. You know, so we're just firing off some shots right here. Let's see what winds up happening on this play. That's that. It's really just going to be that simple. If it breaks back down below 917, I already have a stop. Looks like it's coming back in right now. If it breaks back down below, this was a name that I didn't mind having, but at the same time, not afraid that if this does go all the way to the downside, to be able to punch out of this. We're long right now at 918.69. So let's put an order like in and around 919.50 or something. See if we can make, that dollar or so before we lose a little bit more than $1 on the way back in. So here we go. It's a shot for Nvidia. I don't know. This might be a little risky to go through here. We do have Michael Noss coming on the after show. We'll talk to him all about Nvidia. Remember, Nvidia's earnings are till May 22nd.
They're late, man.
So this is not like a play like Palantir that is going right now, by the way. Palantir, this is going to get stopped out. We already have our stop in. So as soon as it hits 917, we should be triggered out of that. Hold on a second. I got to make sure because we have another one going the other way. So, all right. 917 break, and we're going to get out of. Oh, okay, it did trigger. Okay, good. It did trigger. All right. Ooh, I almost put in 2 stop orders there. So that's funny because I had one going longer, and then I guess I had one going short, and they were able to be both in there. So that's strange. Okay.
What?
Yeah, I think so. Anyways, I'll look at it. But anyways, there goes Nvidia downside. So that one right there. So we'll have 2 red stocks today. Ah, well. Let's see what happens with Nvidia. I may get back in, though, against that. We might have just taken that bottom and gotten stopped out on that very bottom. But that is Nvidia for you. Here it comes right back up to the upside. We could try it one more time. But let's watch out. How low did we get there? We'll have to zoom in. Again, it's not, our net didn't dramatically change there. All right, 916.75. Oh, look at that. Right back into the money off that stop. So it did it to us again. That did it to us on Google, and it's doing it now on Nvidia, but that's okay. We'll see what happens here back to the upside. A big spread on this name. Just looking, Boeing still not doing anything. Unfortunately, I was hoping that it would. We may just take this as our out now. 178.50. Let's change that as we're starting to get closer here, and we don't need to be throwing money away. So we just did it on Nvidia as it's, now Nvidia is a 50-cent winner, but we've already seen that today. You saw that with Neil. All right, 178.53 Boeing. So that's still $1 from now. Perfect. So let's wait for that. Spotify seeing a spike in activity.
Just a couple of things. I just got out of Alibaba because it's at VWAP, so I'm just going to take it. It's not really moving. But there's an early look imbalance on Pfizer of like 4.2 million shares worth keeping an eye on here. XOM, 2 million shares as well. But Pfizer at the high of the day with only 15 minutes or less than 15 minutes till the imbalances come out. Big early number on Pfizer. That thing you see at the top, AGTI is a buyout, so it's going to come out as a big number, and it's not going to matter. But Pfizer is at its high of the day with the sell imbalance. Let's go to the screen with Adara.
This one going to be interesting. Lots of interesting looks here in the S&P 500, making big moves. Some of them are actually going to be related to the world of film and TV, including Paramount here. This one trading higher after Paramount basically letting its agreement with its exclusive talks with Skydance lapse that it can discuss other suitors, including Sony and Apollo, for this potential merger negotiation deal. So nice look here for PARA. We also have Netflix trading higher, being featured on CNBC's Last Trades here with Steve Weiss. Also worth noting here, we had Tom Brady's roast yesterday on Netflix. That could be giving this one a boost as well for NFLX. We also have Eli Lilly declaring a second quarter dividend of $1.30 per share payable in June. So nice look here for LLY.
Yeah, Lilly's actually having a great, I just showed you guys Pfizer's at the high of the day. Eli Lilly's at the highs. Moderna I haven't really double checked, but Pfizer was a nice little interesting one up there. Thoughts on Nathan Kim? Thoughts on Palantir opinion overnight? Best and worst case scenario? I think Sean's already said this. I know Danielle has said this. When you look at the expected move, generally speaking, that's there for a reason. So you think best and worst case scenarios, and you're talking about double digits, just say that 15%, that's $3.50, essentially. So best case scenario, $3.50 up is 28, which is near its fresh highs. And then $3.50 down works out to exactly the most recent support at 2160. Like, think about that for a second. Like where it is right now is exactly 15% off of this recent lower high that it's been running into. So that puts you, obviously it can do better or worse than that. Expected moves are not gospel or anything along those lines. They're just things that you can look for. So I think that's going to be the interesting case. I love the fact that it's already in a bull move going into it. It's going to bode well that we might have some rate cuts and all that kind of good stuff. But 10 minutes to go, then we get the imbalances through. Time to tighten up some stops in here, one of which will be literally 982. If we break consolidation higher, then we're just going to get out of CGC. Thought we'd hold this for a flush into the end of the day, and it's just been going sideways off of this 970 to 980 level right in here. So it's down 5%, not looking so great. Uber stock has gone bye-bye. I like to see it, but it's in the wrong direction. The concern for Uber, well, we've already talked about this with Tesla and the robo-taxi and Uber already being in a bit of a retracement stage. It goes right into resistance at the 50-period moving average and kind of gives it up. Should have looked at this stock today. That's not a real wick. Yeah, okay, never mind. I looked at this chart and saw this wick up here to like 74. I'm like, that's a 50-period moving average. That's a short. But that's just a dark pool. Like it never actually got there. It didn't get close on Uber. 74 to me would have been an easy area to look for a short when you look at that daily. But the trend back in on Uber, it's still up 3%, but the market holds the highs and it gives it back all afternoon. That's not bullish at all. And they're one of those names that's still yet to report. We get them as well. Wednesday morning, it's them, Shopify Wednesday morning. A lot of great trading names for earnings, and then Lyft before them.
Yeah, it's another big week for earnings, especially some of those lower tiered names. Big tech pretty much done for the most part.
Except for the big chips.
Yeah, there's a lot of names still with Nvidia.
Well, ARM we get ARM.
Okay, ARM, yeah. ARM is smaller market cap, but still decent. All right, so
big valuation.
We made back half, by the way, of our Nvidia trade, but then we didn't get out. Like I did not get out at 920. We got stopped out, then we bought the break back up. And we're $2 plus in the money right there, but we did not, sorry, $2 exactly in the money, but did not take it. Looking for this, basically, 920 break, go see the 50 period. I'm waiting at 920.50 in case we get up there, but it is having a hard time sort of closing this gap and staying above $19. So I feel like there is a seller here, but once they break, then it should be moonshot here for Nvidia. Let's see if we can make back half or a little bit more than that on the way back up and get something out in and around. You know, we could change it to 921. I feel like that's a little bit of a better spot. Let's go to 921. Let's go to 920.80, something like that. Sit there and see if we get it. So go $2 higher from here. We still have that same stop, this break right in around there. The trade's kind of broken now because we only have 6 minutes, 8 minutes until the imbalance comes out, and that could go either way. So that's a risky proposition on a stock like Nvidia. You come out with like 1 million share to sell, and the next thing you know, you're going to be regretting life. But here we go. 5 million. Neil already sort of ran through this. These are going to be no NASDAQ names. Anything that's a NASDAQ name is left over from the open. So we'll wait to see if what hits and what doesn't. But for right now, Boeing's right back in. So that's a trade right there for us on Boeing. Now $2.50 in the money. Let's see how low that name can go. Palantir at day's high. So for that one, good bottom pick there. We're long $24 on Palantir. It's at 25, and we wrote that down on the stick. You know, let's adjust this a little bit maybe if we can, and that's going to be, of course, our out for the TQs because this just keeps on getting better and better. As we just keep on going to the upside. It definitely, our bullish bias today works, and I'm very, very pleased to be able to talk about that earlier and you know, have that look. So right there, I'm just going to use the 50 period. If we break it, we break it. We're near the end of the day. Like I said, man, traders stay late, and we're going to do that for you here. 58.05 break, and we're out. Let's just say a break of 58 at this point. Same kind of difference. What's up, A?
Yeah, so X here, United States Steel, a couple positive catalysts on this one, getting some volume heading into the close. They're both going to be from earlier today. Got an upgrade, but a price target decrease here from Morgan Stanley. Also, the European Commission approved of its acquisition by Nippon Steel this morning. So a couple of positive catalysts moving X here with strong volume into the close, guys.
Yeah, for those that were interested in why X was looking so strong today, do keep in mind, look, it's obviously good news that they're going to get approval by the European regulators, but those aren't the regulators everyone's concerned about. Everyone's concerned about the U.S. regulators and whether or not that can get through. So, that's where it has to actually pass. And I think that could be a little bit trickier, to be sure. But we'll see. You never really know how these things are going to play out. The back and forth has been wild for U.S. Steel. Has a nice little bid on it, though, recently, after it's already got that big drop. People have already said, okay, we priced in that there's concerns with the administration and whether it can get through, and it's caught a little bit of a bid here, but I'd be a little cautious. CGC hanging on with 5 minutes to go to the imbalances. I'm just going to jump right on the bid for Intel. It gave you one shot, I think, at close to VWAP, at least for myself. But early on, you just had to be shorting it off the tops. I just took one trade when it did this little pop. Couldn't get to VWAP. Once it was back at 90, I just hit 90s. And I think this is still going to be a short it until it's not a short, because the trend is very, very distinct here. And it has yet to put in what I would call a strong higher low and break of this trend down on Intel. So we're still favoring shorts. I mean, this chart actually speaks for itself. Look at it since it broke the $40 level. There's a few green candles in there, and they're all tiny. Just like there's a green day in there and a green day in there, and then a couple of green days in here. But look at the red candles on this. If you just happen to be in one of them, and this is not just like it's gapping through these levels. Like, look at the drops that you're seeing in the stock when it goes down, or on Fed Day when it was breaking out and then it dropped $1 in like 30 minutes. Or you get like the continuation moves. It's just a short till it ain't, right? So, I want to be looking for the short trade. Today it gave you another one, could be a flat bottom break tomorrow on this bad boy. But CGC, at some point I should just get on the 60 bid instead of the 950. Doesn't seem to want to punch right through here. There were buyers at 65 before. That's how you get this wick bottom. And they're just holding the line at $9.65 again. If I see it bounce, I'll probably just punch out 70s.
All right, a little bit of a reload down there on Nvidia. It got all the way back again to 9.8. Oh, here we're still on Google, sorry. Oh, got out some Google there, breaking back above 167, but that's not on my mind right now. It's Nvidia. Nvidia still has a pretty decent spread. It's good now, but see, then when it opens up, you really got to catch those fills. So I'm right now at 917.98. Oh no, I'm at 98. It just went to 94. One more push up. Maybe we can get a fill here. There it is. Yes, sir. So there it goes, man. A nice little reload at the bottom there for Nvidia. Now let's see where we can go back up to the upside right now and see about this trade happening one more time for us here with NVDA. So far so good, but again, need that fill to come out for us upside now as we look to get, okay. We might be positive here very soon. 1950, 919.50. Let's put another offer right there. We got to make sure it's classified properly. 919. I mean, do we just want to hold this into the end of the day? We've got a monster right now on this one. I mean, it's good because it's finally going, not a monster, but let's see if it can go back up there to the upside. Boeing is getting a little nerve-wracking for me. We might as well just get out. Let's change this stop to 178. Boeing going to be, again, another top stock here with just breaking news. We talked about that. Shout out to Benzinga Pro platform that, honestly, I didn't even have it in my ear because I was going to do that ad, and then all of a sudden, boom, Neil's like, there's news. So I pretty much threw that back in, got that, and as we always say, the rest on this situation is history. Good trade there for Boeing. Now our stop is right there. Can't make less than $1.75, so that's always going to be pretty good. Google downside, and then Nvidia trying to work it out, baby. Let's go. Let's see if we can get a nice move back up to the upside and turn this day into a green one here for Nvidia.
Yeah, and Nvidia been an absolute beast. I mean, the fact that you're going to still close at the weird thing about it is $922.22 is exactly where I sold that 10%, and that's the high of the day today. So it's almost like it's mocking me at this particular moment. I jumped out of Intel. We're just going to hang on to CGC. into 350 on those imbalances. I keep tightening the stop. We're just going to let it ride. This is a similar trade in terms of just like a flat bottom break and a consolidation down. Like, let the momentum tell the story. Like, it was already breaking a flat bottom. If you don't get that one, first bounce, $10 just happened to be here. We had to pay for locates, but we're able to do that in a couple of minutes and then walk it in to said downside. Amazon is over 188. Yeah, buddy. Amazon up 1% today, almost a double top in here. Marijuana news. Okay, nothing. Yeah, there's just like a little bit of a thing in my ear on cannabis, but it's not a big deal. Not going to move those stocks at all. Havana Woody, you know what? We're talking about this on Block. The thing about when you trade a stock at a singular price level, like eventually it's going to give up. I mean, sometimes it gives up the ghost. Like that, if you keep reloading it over and over and over again, and it never really breaks down, I'm talking about shorting it off the high, at some point you could have that happen to you. All you can do is you take it, you scalp what you can out, and then you end up punching out when it goes. And if it continues to run, I was never really looking long on Block. We just got to get out of the way, man. So that's what we did there on Block. 5% up and well on its way, not completely filling in the gap. It's actually halfway through the gap that got put on Friday. Remember, they had a good quarter and were up significantly and then dumped it at the open. So the relief rally's on for Square and the imbalances are out now. What do we have here? Like I said, that AG has a buyout. Pfizer is a buy, 3.8 million. Pinterest, 2.7 million to the buy side. XOM's a sell. Looks like there's no big cap tech names over $1 million. Adara?
We did get this drop here on MSOS worth noting. I'm not seeing any confirmation on this, but Newsweek reporting that apparently the administrator of the DEA, Ann Milgram, did not sign the rescheduling order for marijuana. So MSOS on watch here with this circulating on this volume pop here to the downside, guys.
Thank you very much there, Adara. I don't see any big NASDAQ names on this imbalance locator right now. Nothing over 500,000 shares. This is a little bit surprising. Microsoft is the biggest, 450,000 to buy on Microsoft. That is the only big cap NASDAQ name that I'm seeing. Not used to that. Usually we'll see a little something more, like Apple would be there, or Amazon at the highs. You don't see any Amazon there. But CGC was already going down before that happened, and it actually bounced off the low of the day again. So it's only a couple of minutes to go. I'm just going to punch it out there. If there's buyers at 950, 10 to 960 is going to work, and we'll just take it. Romney saying no option on Boeing overnight. Well, we don't trade overnight. When you're day trading, you're in, you're out. You get flat at the end of each day. So we don't really hold positions overnight at all. But I can tell you it would be pretty perilous to hold this one overnight. The bad news just continues for them over and over again. Apple, I didn't see an imbalance to have caused that move off VWAP on Apple, but it did just drop 70 cents as if there was an imbalance. Maybe something just popped in late. No, Apple, there it is. You're right. This was not there a minute ago. Apple out of nowhere, 1.2 million to the sell side. That was not there 30 seconds ago. But Apple just came out. Sometimes it takes a few minutes. It feels like it's a little bit later sometimes with the NASDAQ imbalances, but Apple is now there for 1.2 to sell.
Yeah, I mean, we already got out of our Apple right there at 181.50, so it just came right back into that level, and of course, we were short Apple. I'm going to try this MSOS here just to see if we get back above like 60, 65 or so here, then we will get out. That's where... I think that's where I just put my stop. I got to refresh all of this. Amazon does hit that 188. Wow. We had a $4 winner on Amazon there. We just got to keep it into the close. That's a tough trade. I just broke the long here through 188, but into the close, not going to be great. But there's MSOS. Just making sure that I do have that stop out there, and I do. Breaking through. We'll take another fill right about here if we can get in around that price. Upside around 62, 63. Doesn't look like it wants to move that much, but again, something about, well, we just had it there from Midday, the DEA, they're not liking all this movement here.
Got to sign the bill.
Marijuana side of things, yeah. So that's happening right now. Nvidia, yeah, I mean, I guess that came as a sell. I didn't even see what, 806 million to buy, so it doesn't look like that's hitting the chip name here. As we were all the way up, we could have got out there. I was waiting. We actually had our target at 9. We were initially at 919.80 or something, but that doesn't look like it wants to work out right now for NVDA. Boeing, I might just get out of this. We do have our stop at 178 flat. So that's about to break anyways. So we might as well keep it. What was a great afternoon. And I hope a lot of you were able to take some of these trades with Boeing. Now MSOS, we'll see where that goes. Palantir, we said we wanted to hold on to that one. So here it comes into earnings. We got to get out of this eventually. We've been holding, of course, the TQs as that just continues to go up all day. And again, this is the one for me, honestly. I mean, we have Amazon at the low of the day. That's now $4 in the money. But I like this one because we had talked about being bullish here. So it's really nice that when you're talking about being bullish all day, you look over and you're ending the day at the highest spot of the day. That's always a good sign, and a good sign for moving forward for all of the trades here on the show. So far, so good. We're going to get some more out here on MSOS as it's fading back in just a little bit. So far, so good. A decent short. We're only short at 55. There's the fill at 50. There's the short down to 48. Man, we're spending money again here, Neil. I don't like this. Is just continuously going right now for us, and we talk about this all the time. Really reading a lot of these names pretty good here into what's going to be hopefully another good month. The month of, as I had to look down, May.
It is May. I mean, we're churning through. What's great about that is I look over, like MSOS is breaking the lows, but CGC just can't break that low of the day. So it seems to me that, you know, MSOS on that news story was the vehicle. Like the other names that had already broken support aren't actually making fresh lows right now. With only 5 minutes to go, a lot of times you'll get like imbalances pairing with 5 minutes to go. Pfizer did pair off most of it. Apple is now gone. There is no 1.2 million anymore on Apple. Not really anything else I see there. Like Intel's kind of like nothing, 700,000. Microsoft no longer there for 500,000. So that Apple definitely paired off. It was a sell imbalance on Apple of 1.2 million, and now it is absolutely gone. I just canceled all my other orders, and the second it paired off, Apple bounced $1 and continues to go a little bit higher here. Apple is a good short. I had it at VWAP. And yeah, he actually gave you VWAP right as the imbalances are coming out, but that's not a trade that I'm going to put on. I usually like it after the imbalances, not before, and it's too late in the day now. Darwin, may the trades be with you, and may the trades also be with you. Love any Star Wars reference, any chance you can get there. Adrian, it happens, but you know what? I think you're the right direction trying Boeing to the south side. The thing about a news trade is you want to get it either really as fast as you can, like you jump over and get the level really quickly, which 180 had to zoom out a little bit, or allow it to bounce and maybe give you something like VWAP, or this is kind of random 178, but if it gets VWAP, that's something you can sink your teeth into if you just want to be with the direction. But oftentimes the algos will come in and be like, okay, that's far enough, and then it'll kind of float back higher, and you want to be careful not to be shorting those lows. The difference is 180 was Friday's high, and that's why, and it was pre-market lows as well.
Yeah. So I'll take, I agree with that, but I think fortune favors the bold on news stories there. Like if we like 180, we're short at look where we're short right here on Boeing, 179.50. So like I get in and then not immediately look to see what the next level is, but we knew 180, so when we called that over, our stop was always 180.50, so $1 stop for that. So far, so good. I think you got to jump in there. Like we nailed TD Bank and Morgan Stanley. Just boom, hear the story, analyze it, and I got to shout out to Neil because he had this before me.
Well, I couldn't hear. I knew there was a story. I couldn't hear exactly what it was.
Yeah, exactly. And then you mentioned something, and I was like, boom, I'm in on this one. So there it goes right there. Have your plan, trade your plan, and guess what? There's another opportunity right there for everybody at Real Trading. If you're looking to graduate, how about a 184, 185 long on Amazon today, right? Put down right here, right on the sticky note. How about a 188 long break on Amazon? Also written down here on the sticky note. Thank you, BPI, one more time right there. And thank you, everybody, for watching as we will end the day at our highest spot. It's an alarm kind of a day one more time. And then when you have a bias long, and this is what happens at the end of the day, another one popping off right now. So, hey, man. Look, we always say this, no rest for the wicked. Join me in 2 minutes as I'll flip over from going 8 for 9 today. Oh, by the way, right now, there goes Nvidia again. So nice upside move for NVDA. Looks like All we had to do is break 920, and this dog will hunt. But right now, we only have 2 minutes left. And like I said, there it is right now, a $2.50 winner right there today, one more time. So again, you can okay. Wow. All right, pretty much speechless here into the close, Neil. You better take this.
Yeah, we got about 90 seconds to go. We're almost done here, so I'll let you guys, I'll let you handle it. Nvidia, look, I'll say it again, like it was one of my favorite stocks to go along, but I didn't make money on it today with that 900 area break. But as long as you can figure out what went wrong, which I know exactly what it was, round number instead of actual trade setup, and the trade setup was $896. And that is not where I took the break. There is your flash. That's the opening range top. That's the trade that's been working for me.
Look at MSOS.
So we took the wrong trade. And now all of a sudden it's like $30 higher, but it is what it is. Strategy going to work. The weed names gave you a couple of great shots to go to the south side as well with less than 1 minute to go on this Monday.
Come over here to look at this MSOS. The mark, you know, the closing show could wait, man. We're trying to put on some big time trades, and that's exactly what we're doing. Look at this MSOS, right there, boom. I mean, this is trading. This is the best. You're now rocking with the best. Look what just happened with Nvidia as well. Often imitated, as you can see. Hopefully never duplicated. We are Trader TV Live, and there it is again. Bang! Look at this trade on Nvidia. Too bad, like I said, man, that we got to run over there. But with the market closing in 10 seconds again, there you go, Neil. Take it.
Yeah, monster spike at the close for a couple of individual names. Nvidia, Intel, and all the chip names just had a big arrow to the upside in 3, 2, and 1. Ring in Adara. So right at the close, there was a big spike in a few chip names. You'll see it right there, kind of random out of nowhere. That's going to jump 25, almost a full percentage point to the upside. Nvidia, okay, fine. I mean, percentage-wise, not much, but it did go like $1 or $2 back into the upside as you just had a massive spike. All the weed names are going to end up closing pretty much on their lows. Thank you, Adair, for that news. Boeing doesn't close on the lows, but if you look at a daily chart, you know what just happened there. Got some earnings to get through today. Palantir is going to be the big one, but they are not alone. Want to give a shout out on the ones and twos. Thank you, Fabian and Ramin, as always. And a big shout out to Obi filling in for Sharif this morning. Sharif feeling a bit under the weather.
Wow.
Doing the lesson of the day with Adara. Great interview, as we always have with Danielle Shea and Brendan. Fantastic job going through all of the earnings expectations this week and all the big trades. Speaking of earnings, some of them are starting to come through in my ear. Palantir might actually be out in a matter of seconds, and I know Lucid's coming at 4:05. So let's get on over to the desk. Palantir is on the move already. It's up. After market, let's get to the desk. We've got Sean and Adara, and Palantir is already at 26.5.
I mean, what else? I mean, here goes Palantir straight up to the upside. Welcome to the market recap show, man. Like I said, this is what it is, man. From that show to real, we're coming back here. These are real earnings out right now for PLTR. I don't know, something's happened over here. I can't even, all right. Yeah, go ahead, because this,
yeah,
I have
these
to close
are
trade ideas.
I don't know how I feel about these numbers here. We got the Q1 adjusted earnings per share 8 cents versus the estimate of 8 cents, but the non-adjusted was a miss, so 4 cents versus 8 cents expected. Q1 revenue coming in here. This one, Q1 revenue was a beat. 634.3 mil versus 625.4 mil, so that was a beat. Outlook, though, the lower end was a miss, so 649 to 653 versus outlook of 653.2, so miss there for Q1 revenue outlook. Also just saying they're working to make AIP available to broader range of markets, and intention is to make the AI platform the most dominant infrastructure in the market. So nice talk, but they did miss, though, on that Q2 revenue outlook. I think that's worth noting. But they beat on Q1 revenue itself. Yeah, that's the Palantir numbers.
Just hearing that they're raising full year revenue right now. I don't know. I don't see anything out on Benzinga Pro. So I know Adara's reading some stuff. We'll wait to see what does come through right now for PLTR. But did I not save that? It should be. Oh, no, I don't think my thing is saved. All right. Take it over, Adara.
Oh, they raised their 2024 revenue forecast, okay, but they didn't raise their Q. They did, I don't know if they lowered their Q2 revenue forecast, but it came below the market expectation, I can say that. So looks like they did raise their 2024 forecast, though, and they have been discussing robust AI demand. So a nice look there for PLTR. I'm going to see if there's any other numbers coming out here. But from what I am seeing, the what else here? Outlook. Yeah, so the Outlook full year adjusted income is they're saying 868 million to 880 million. So that's where we had the increase there. They also said that they anticipate their U.S. commercial, so specifically in terms of revenue, they're saying the U.S. commercial revenue, U.S. commercial business will remain one of the most significant drivers of our growth in the near term. So that's really what I'm seeing here. They did have, though, it's not saying that they lowered it, but it is, from what I can see, coming in lower than expected. Their Q2, specifically just Q2 revenue, from what I am seeing here. But yeah, I mean, let's see how the market's reacting to this, because I think generally pretty positively. I know this was a very hotly anticipated earnings report. We'll have to wait and see what Alex Karp has to say here. Let's see what we have here in Palantir. Oh, that's the...
We have Lucid coming out.
We have Lucid as well, supposed to be coming at 405. Yeah, so Palantir, nice move up here for PLTR. Let's see what we have here on LCID and what they have to give us. Yeah, not seeing anything yet. That one is also supposed to come at 405. So Palantir's coming in here a little bit earlier. Right now, up 13% from opening today. So nice move up here, nice pushes up. New volume high candles on the day, other than the stuff we got at 9:30 this morning. So yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see what we do here. Pulling back a little bit, initially up 13%, now up 11, 12. Right. So a little bit of a drop. We're gonna have to wait and see how the market digests these numbers.
Yeah, a little nice 2024 GAAP EPS. We should be good to go on that board now of 8 cents in line. And then, of course, sales, as we talked about, beating as well for that. So a nice little upside move there for PLTR, as we'll continue to watch out to see where that one goes. But today was a very, very interesting day. And thank you for all for watching. There goes $26. Let me just look at the daily chart. As Adara broke down some of the moves there on Palantir, we're still looking to extend past 27 right now on PLTR. So that's another one. We are getting now Simon Property Group, a name that I like, that we've gotten out of. We're not huge in this name anymore, but nice move up for SPG. This was one that I actually bought during COVID. I kind of like the dividend yield there, 5.5%. It was higher actually during COVID. They had to scale that back, but SPG again, nice high quality mall. Daryl, if you're here, Daryl, I remember you and I were buying this one down there, so we could definitely have a validity check on that as real sees real. So shout out to you there, Daryl, as well. Simon Property Group right now up 2.9% and trying to go. We'll get those numbers when they are out for you.
Lucid beat.
Lucid's out?
Lucid beat, yeah,
What?
they
I
beat
didn't hear
revenue.
Why is it not
170
moving?
172.7 million versus 157 million expected. So they did beat in revenue. They had a slightly larger loss per share than expected, though. 30-cent loss per share versus 25-cent loss per share expected. They delivered 1,967 vehicles in the quarter and produced 1,728 vehicles for the quarter. Let's see what other numbers we're getting out here. So they did have a larger loss per share than expected. That's the big loss here, but they did beat on revenue, saying that their CapEx for 2024, 1.5 billion. So that's pretty significant. They're also saying here that they're going to, quote, continue to make significant progress on our cost optimization programs.
Remember.
That CapEx, though, not great. $1.5 billion in CapEx projections for 2024, says Lucid. So
all right, yeah, Lucid continues to go down. Here's the Palantir number 2 as well. Right now, Lucid down to 295, but that's kind of like as expected. It's not moving around like crazy or anything like that, but that is Lucid right now. Palantir actually pretty disappointing, let's be perfectly honest with you. You know, we were expecting a 14 or so percent. Oh, we had that written down there, Adara, you and I. You wrote that down. What was it, 14%? Let me just double check what that move was expected to be.
I think it was 16.
16, that high, eh? Okay. 14.8%.
Oh, never mind. I was very wrong. Sorry.
No, you're not very wrong. That's close enough. Right there. But here comes to the downside. So a 14% move on $25. We're expecting a $3 plus move on Palantir. Not a $0 move. But here comes Palantir right now, back down to the downside. And I just want to talk about one thing that just hit on Palantir was right here. Sees Q2 revenue between 649 to 653, which is pretty much lower, as you had mentioned.
That was the one thing.
There, Adara,
yeah.
On that. That's Q2. But they do see forward year lower as well. So actually, we may have to change our tune here on Palantir as they finally report little more aggressive numbers. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, I mean, if they don't hit those levels, they don't hit those levels. But that's what upgrades and downgrades and price targets are based on.
That's a good point.
So I could see them getting downgraded tomorrow based on a miss on revenue for PLTR. We did have Michael Noss on. We did have Daniel Shea on. We talked about, I think, did we talk about Palantir this morning with Michael Noss? He can nod if we did. I'm not sure if we did or not. But
He nodded.
He nodded. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's talk to Michael today about Palantir and the fact that it's not moving. So nice move there for PLTR. We'll see if we can expect anything else out of that report. Often, when you get a huge move like I feel like we did there in PLTR heading into the reported era, like look at this move on the daily. We just went up 20-something% into $25. A lot of the time, you're going to get maybe potential weekend shaken out. Let's see what happens. Good move to the upside there for PLTR on the day, but pulling back in here on the after earnings. The next name, again, Lucid. Another one there. Shout out to Michael when we look at our, where's average day to cover? It should be up here somewhere. But these guys do have a short float that isn't that bad. Here it is. Go over here to Lucid Group right there. Where's the short float? Oh, actually, it's not listed here for Lucid. So we'll find out. They're going to get that updated.
I'm seeing 1160. But I'm not seeing that in TradingView though.
11%.
Or Trade Ideas. Yeah, I'm seeing 11.6%.
Okay, well that's good. So 11.6% short, but again, in a name that does millions of shares a day, right there, 43 million shares. So 11% short on the total float. Downside right now for Lucid. After that, yeah, soft. So there it is, trading lower following soft revenue guidance is PLTR. So in line today comes Palantir, but definitely soft on everything else. Let me just show you this quickly here as we'll go over some names that might have been moving. Let's do a quick little sector recap because we already have Palantir and Lucid. A lot of big trades coming later on this week. Uber, Shopify coming in Dara.
Yeah.
Disney coming. We know we love Disney, and that's another name we've talked to Michael about, Disney coming through. But let's just look at a couple names here today. Microsoft up 1.69%. Amazon, an absolute monster, continues to go. We definitely had this one, but the major indices continue building off of Friday's strength. Hopeful rate cuts coming at the end of this year. We'll see if that gets tampered at all by Fed's Barkin, who today started barking about inflation data being disappointing. We know that. Stop telling us things we know. Right now, the real estate sector, as we've talked about that, right, where was it? The real estate sector was one of the hot ones today, XLRE. I saw it on here coming through. Anyways, let me just call it up for you, XLRE. The real estate, there it is right there. Nice move today. Although it's not showing it right here, we did have a nice move. Even the home builders today moving nicely to the upside. So that was something that we talked about a little bit as rates come back into play. Technology led by an upgraded Micron. I mean, what a nice move for Micron there today, up 4 and a bit. Check these guys on the daily, gapping higher there on a nice upgrade for Micron. And then earnings season continues as we look for continued moves tomorrow with both Lucid and Palantir. But as you know, as we continue to look for these moves, it doesn't look like we're going to have to get them or we're going to get them at all because Palantir is still, you know what, I must have to update this because you see how this, I can't even click the time difference here, but there it is right there. Let's go over to a 5-minute chart just to see Palantir. We nailed 24 long early, but now you're starting to break a lot lower on PLTR. So let me just swap this over and have a quick look. 50-period moving average, 23 and change. If we drop an anchor, shout out to Brian Shannon, who'll be here tomorrow, at sort of this gapped bottom right there, you can see we're right here right now, man. $23 is that anchored VWAP drop from that gap bottom. So that's something to look at for Palantir. Is there anything maybe we're missing? Anything come across the newswire that you've seen, Adara?
I mean, we got the Simon Property Group, which I know you're involved in, and they had a nice little beat here. So from what I can tell, they do their numbers on a year-over-year basis, but they did have an increase year-over-year from 274 last year to 356 for earnings per share. Sales 1.44 billion versus the estimate of 1.29 billion. So that's a nice look, honestly, for Simon Property, up about 2.5%. Hims and Hers, which is pretty heavily shorted, also did pretty well here. So give me a moment to pull up that chart. HIMS, market reacting positively to this one, up about 14%. They did sell off a little bit last week, so there was, I think, room to run versus Palantir, which had that move up into earnings. Yeah, so beat across the board here for Hims and Hers. 0.5 5-cent EPS versus 2-cent expected, and then also a beat here for sales. Higher than expected Q2 24 revenue and also full year 2024 revenue. So HIMS beating across the board here, guys.
Yeah, good little look there. And yeah, Simon Property Group holding that 146.50 there to the upside. ARC today. And again, a shout out to Trade Ideas. We are going to have Michael Noss on. You can hit TraderTV.20 to subscribe and get all everything. Any product you like at Trader. At Trade Ideas, TraderTV20 will get you that. Scan that QR code right there and grab that 20% off. Yeah, Michael's created this for me, man. These are basically the sectors that are outperforming today, the S&P. So generally here, SLV today up 3.5%. Nice move for silver. You know what? Let's flip over to the daily just to have a quick look. So trying to break out back again. Nice bottom there, coming back into $24. I'm assuming, I'll just type in GLD. I don't see it on there, but GLD up 1%, so it's in here as well. There it is right there, Gold. Again, starting to bounce back up. We did have a nice day, I think, at the end of it all for IBIT. Again, up 1.69%. That'll be off of Friday's close. We did have a high of 65.5 in Bitcoin, but IBIT still holding as well. Berk, although not an ETF, could be considered that as they drop their earnings on Saturday. And again, holding out pretty good here as, again, Apple. They'll go as Apple goes. And then again, insurance and some financials involved with Berkshire, Wells Fargo in that name, as well as a lot of you know Occidental on the energy side for that. And then, of course, the negative name, and we actually hit this right at the end of the day. What exactly was that story? The DEA for MSOS came out there for marijuana and sort of said, hold our horses on getting all of this approved. I believe the story was something like that, Adara.
So I want to clarify, not confirmed.
Yeah.
Not confirmed. It's one of those things that floats around on Twitter, and we've had this quite a lot, specifically with MSOS. But basically, Newsweek, and again, I can't even confirm that Newsweek reported this, but they're basically saying that Newsweek is saying that one of the administrators or one of the head administrators there of the DEA is not voting in favor of that MSOS or that bill for marijuana that would help lower it down in terms of the schedule. So that comes out around 350 around when the imbalances come out, and MSOS falls to the downside. That's what I'm seeing. Again, not seeing any confirmation on that as of right now.
All right, so good little trade there at the end of the day on MSOS as we heard that news, then we broke that. We also got end of day news on Boeing as well, and man, did we ever hit this one as well. We'll just wait for our software to load up here, and I can show you, and then we're going to call Michael Noss. We're not going to make him wait too long. I was hoping that it's loading data. The problem is charts might, okay, here they come up. I was going to say sometimes they go down there. Oh, Nvidia does go, nice little move back up there for Nvidia. Here at Real Trading, we will turn the chart server off, so sometimes the charts won't work, which is why we will always go back over to Trade Ideas. But there's the short here for Boeing that happened. Boom, what a good move that was. Yeah, thanks, Adara. Immediately to the downside there.
I'm just looking at how you
nice
got that off
compliment.
like that free market area. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, I appreciate all that. That means a lot. That's Boeing for sure to the downside. And then the other one there I want to go over before we bring on Michael Noss. This was MSOS. Just because they're two breaking news stories. And again, have it in your toolbox. Michael's going to come on here and go, breaking news, schmaking news. Because unless it's actually schmaking news. That's weird. Yeah.
I liked it.
No, because again, your style of trade, right?
Yeah.
Like Michael will look at, and he's going to talk about this, looks at the beginning of the week, the end of the week, maybe opening candles, closing candles. Sometimes stories that happen midday aren't overly affecting his underlying position. But why hear from me when we can hear directly from the horse's mouth? And what a handsome man it is. It's Michael Noss. Let's bring him in. I got it. Hi, Michael. How are you?
How's it going, Sean?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I don't know if you could tell I'm in pretty good mood today. We actually wound up going 8 for 9 today on our trades, which was a pretty decent day for us. So we're pretty happy. Showed a couple great.
Congrats, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. We did see some news, though, coming at the end of the day on a Boeing and on an MSOS. And I want to thank you for creating this ticker for me because it's showing us that MSOS was the most hit sector today, marijuana. And I just want to clarify something. When I was talking about potentially, that's still Boeing, but here's MSOS right here. Nice downside move. I think I'm correct by saying that, right? Your style of trading, although you'll look at a macro level of, can we go back to Michael here just so I can talk to him? There you go. You'll look at stocks, but how would a story like that maybe breaking at the end of the day, does that affect sort of how you may look to trade in MSOS or maybe any current positions that you're still in?
Not unless any stops I had outstanding were hit. You guys were even mentioning, hey, this is unconfirmed. We can't verify this. You can't, we don't know anything about it. So it's one of those that, yes, it moved the whole sector, but unless I was in something and the stop was hit, then I'm not going to take action on that personally, because I don't know how many times I've seen, especially it seems particular in the marijuana sector, a piece of news comes out, quote unquote news comes out, and then you fast forward 5-10 minutes later, and that's not true, and the price is right back up. So this is why Charles Dow, one of the creators of technical analysis, like 100 years ago, who created the Dow Jones Industrial Average and all that, always says the closing price is the most important. So I'll look at the close today, I'll look at the close tomorrow, and see if that news kind of got washed out or if it's legit.
And I wonder if sometimes news like that, and if you don't mind, Michael, I know you have a lot of things to talk about, and we're going to get to that. Can I ask you quickly about a Canadian bank that's been under fire lately, and it's TD Bank. So again, they were money laundering. There's a story about fentanyl and all of this. It's come to light. I don't know if they've defended it or not, but at the end of the day, TD Bank is getting clocked. If you come over to my screen right here, you're back into some of these bottoms that we made back in basically last year at this time. I mean, even, this is January, February, March down there. Then, of course, the October bottoms, some stocks are revisiting those bottoms. But again, to me, this looks like it's breaking down pretty bad right now. Banks aren't really necessarily performing that well in Canada in general at these levels. To me, I like the short, even at these levels. Am I thinking a little bit off base here? Do we wait for maybe 57, 58 or so up there to come back in? Of course, the Toronto Dominion Bank, a Canadian bank, but the prices we're looking at right now are US. What do you think about TD Bank, and how does that chart look to you?
Yeah, well, it's funny that you showed it there, and I have it up here as well. There's a technical analysis saying that news generally will follow the direction of the trend, and bad news coming out recently, and this being an incredibly underperforming asset in the financial field to technicians like me doesn't really shock anything. And I can look at that by just telling the viewers to keep an eye on this chart right here. And if we go to the XLF, which is the overall sectors when it comes to financials, that has been doing great. Some of these names like Wells Fargo have been doing amazing. Call it what you will, call it people who know better, know that something's going on, or whisper numbers or whatever, but TD was dramatically underperforming every other financial out there for a very long period of time, even before this happened. So it doesn't shock me. And then I just drew out the pattern here. It looks like we have a descending triangle going on here. So I think the trade it's pretty simple if you want to short this. And I like that idea because it is so dramatically relatively weak to the rest of the market. Is you could short on a break of today and yesterday's low. And then if we get back into that triangle, or at absolute worst case, if we break this downtrend line, that's your out. It looks like a pretty interesting trade, especially if there is some sort of news catalyst that's pushing it along. But again, for me, you just focus, you say, hey, for some reason, for now about a year, this has been dramatically underperforming the rest of the banks. There probably is a reason why.
Hi, Michael. I was wondering if you have any thoughts on Palantir coming off of earnings. We had that really nice run up into earnings, especially including today, and then falling off after we got weaker than expected Q2 guidance. I was wondering if, based on all of these moves, that you have any reads on this stock heading forward.
I think I heard Sean say this when I was in the green room, and it makes perfect sense to me. When you have stocks that run up like this into earnings, you can see from 20 to 25. And I know me and Sean were talking about it down here around 20 at the low of the gap. You had this move, the run up from 20 to 25 into an event like that, then it looks like it's reversing now. That to me makes way more sense because everybody has been front running this move. You'll hear people on CNBC say pricing to perfection or something like that, whatever you want to call it again. But people buying into the move, then when I see that, I'm like, well, whatever they announce has to be amazing because the market is already expecting to be great. And this could create what we call a pro gap. So I was on this morning and I was talking about Avis budget right here back when it was at 213, 214 because of the large short float. And I gave a whole reason why I was interested in short float, but I actually called this one pro gap. And this is something that my buddy Steve, who I know was on when I was away, talks about all the time. If you have a move preceding a gap in one direction, and then all of a sudden, whatever that fundamental is, shifts that the other way, well, at least for short-term participants, you got them offside, and they're going to have to get out of that position one way or the other. So we saw a nice, 3 or 4% move today on this one. I would bet I'd be worried about something like Palantir tomorrow. If we do hold these lows, it means everyone that got really hyped into the earnings is disappointed. You may have some people coming in to sell that one.
All right. We don't like to hear negativity about Palantir, but I agree with you. I think that run up was decent there into that print, and now I'm still waiting for that S&P 500 inclusion. That's another story, Michael. That if we don't get that, then that is another negative catalyst for sure, hitting PLTR, Palantir. All right. So
just on that note, quite often there's been some studies done that once something actually gets into the index,
right,
that can also generally be a sell the news event as well, right? So you got to be careful that, the lead up into that, just like the lead up into something like earnings, that might be the play. And when they're in the S&P 500, then again, that might be the sell the news top or something like that. I forget the stats, but there has been studies done on that before.
I mean, this is the thing about why our show's the best and why we have the great guests like yourself, because look at this. You mentioned it. You know what comes to my mind immediately? It's Uber, and that's exactly what happened right here. This is the inclusion day. Uber at the end of December, bang, right back into the downside right there as we sell off into January come through. So Uber did have a little bit of a dip by before absolutely exploding to the upside. But yes, a sell the event. And we also saw that on Tesla and a few other things. You know what, Michael? Actually, I'm surprised here that Uber's come all the way back up. I was a little nervous about the robo-taxis and all that, but maybe there's something there with Uber. Okay, you mentioned starting the week off with looking at opening candles and things like that. Was there anything that maybe caught your eye or any sort of note that maybe I can bookend you? If you're not busy on Friday, maybe I'll have you back in on Friday and we can have a look to see if anything hit. So was there anything that maybe caught your eye early? I saw GameStop moving around, but I'll open the floor up to you. What is interesting to Michael Noss after one day of trade here this week?
So on my screen here, this is the new layout that I've been playing with a bit, where I'm looking at the S&P 500 names up and down, just looking at the big guys, because for the last couple years anyway, that's been the place to play. IWM, small caps not going anywhere, mid caps, MDY, a little bit better, but the large caps have just been the place you have to play to get that kind of move. And this layout that I've built is doing a pretty good job of telling me themes when I bring it up. So, for example, on up, we have, SMCI here. I see MU. This is one I talked about, I believe, on Friday. A lot of risk-on type names. There's Uber that we were just talking about a second ago. So a lot of these risk-on type names. And then over on the other side, stuff that they were selling, I see Kraft Heinz and Lululemon, a lot of more retail, Monster Energy drinks there, a lot of retail names. So I don't know, one day may be a little bit too soon to gauge, but if we take a look at something like ARK, had a pretty decent day, and then BRK, and this is why I have this on this ETF list that you have there, Sean.
Yep.
Underperforming a little bit in recent days. So I wonder if we're seeing a risk-on shift again, which after we had this big pullback in the market is what you would want to see if this is going to continue and smash through these highs. So, I need more data, but it looks like we may be going back into a little bit of risk-on mode. And if we're still in that risk-on mode when we reach these highs, it's potential that we could just smoke right through.
All right, thank you, Mr. Michael Noss. And I'll tell you, I won't mention to Brian Shannon, of course, about a potential long in ARK, because Brian and I go back and forth, and I know you're just talking about a trade, but he is not a big fan of those holdings there in ARK. One more, if you don't mind, because we always get questions about it on our show. It's Carvana, CVNA. You mentioned this today, which I think you nailed it perfectly. I want to thank you for bringing it to my attention as well. The days to cover aspect here, we do have a 30% short float with almost 4 on the days to cover, which is pretty significant. I mean, you brought us some examples that were much higher than that one. But even today, Carvana just continues to, this just looks like, come over to my screen here. This is like some sort of like either a doji star that's about to absolutely, sink this stock down in a little bit of an lonely islands up here. But I don't know. Those probably aren't the right technical frames for this. But it looks like Carvana is just chilling out all by itself. And whenever I see something like this with a short float like that, I always think this coming back in. Are we crazy about that for Carvana? Do we have to let this settle down? And I know we're kind of beating a dead horse. You've talked about this a lot, but there continues to be a lot of interest around the name for Carvana. For me, I'm going to look for a pullback short, but maybe the longs aren't done. Any opinions?
I wouldn't hold a short overnight personally, and I know that you don't do that either, especially in this name because what you mentioned with a 30% short float.
Yeah.
If some bit of news comes out that's great, this could absolutely explode. But yeah, you always have to look at where the stock came from. So right here, we're talking $75 up to 130 in a very short period of time. That's pretty wild. And you were right; it's a evening star play that may be setting up here. So for those who don't know the technical term, an evening star has some sort of a doji or topping type candle.
Kind of.
And then if the next day is follow through to the downside, it is a pretty high probability reversal play. Now, again, this thing has gone from like, a buck to bankruptcy, right? All the way to $123. So it's not something that I would step in front of, but that may give us a chance to pull back a little bit into this gap. We have this massive gap that's unfilled. It broke right through that $91 share area everyone was looking at. If we start to see a pullback in that area, that's what I'm going to watch for a potential buy on this name. It's a little bit extended here, but you got to think there's a whole bunch of people who may have missed the boat or those shorts. And you got to think if you were short the stock at $90 and it gaps up to 130, if it starts to get back to that $90 a share level, you're probably going to be interested in just getting out of that position and moving on. So I think there's still a lot of long catalysts and trapped people in this trade. I just think we need to get a better price and we need to get some sort of a pullback just so we have a place to put our stop loss.
Yeah, I like when you talk about that, the risk management. It's all about that, and I agree. That hold overnight on anything that's a short float can get pretty nasty. It's Michael Noss. Where can they find you?
Just Google Michael Noss CMT. I'm all over the place. And I'll probably be back here soon.
Is that not the best answer? Just Google my name?
Yeah.
Like just put on the crown. There, Michael Noss. Thank you so much. It's Michael Noss from Trade Ideas at Michael Noss CMT on X. Great way to get a hold of him. And Michael, I'm just going to ask you live on the show. Can you send me that scanner that you just had of all those names that were overperforming and underperforming? Because that would be absolutely amazing. And I'm going to show it on the show tomorrow as we search for, that one right there, exactly.
Absolutely.
Perfect. And I'm going to show it tomorrow and give you all the credit. Michael Noss, TraderTV20. Use that code and let's go trade ideas. Thank you, Mr. Noss.
Talk to you guys soon.
Take care. That's Trader Talk. I honestly, Adara, I know you're new to all this. You've been live now for 4 weeks. It honestly is about like building that community, and the fact that Michael can show something like that and then be able to send it right over, get the data from Trade Ideas. It's such a well-oiled machine. Like he comes up with an idea and we can instantly start to look at that tomorrow. And I just think that that's where we build the sticky note, because I come in every day and I look for relative strength and weakness. We look for names that we like and we look for levels that we like. If this can, in the middle of the day, give me some kind of sticky note ideas. What is strong? What is weak? We are both strong. Yeah. And so is Trader TV Live. What was a good play today was, thank you so much for that. We're going to go to the next topic real quick. Forget about my tweets. Next topic. All right, sticky note. Today on this, does that say sticky goat?
Sticky note.
Sticky note. Okay, hold on a second. I'll fix that. I was like, what does that even say? Sticky note goat. I like that. Oh, I was thinking about drinking that Monet, Moe.
Oh, Moe.
We're not drinking Monet. Yeah, Moe. Yeah, Monet. We're not.
Moe.
You just talked about Starry Night. So
yeah, that's Van Gogh.
That's what I mean. Now we're talking about art again. All right, we wrote down, and I didn't log in today over here to X, but we wrote down Amazon that we really liked for the long. And again, this goes back to what I was talking about with Michael Noss. We had, by the way, roll calls coming up, so let's just hit this real quick. Get ready for roll call. We'll say your names. 185 dip buy opportunity for that. Bang to the upside, 186.50. Then we also wrote down on our sticky note that we liked 188 long. That was a big trade for us as well. So there it is, man. Great show, great day. We were 8 for 9 trading today, so that was a good day for us. We're really happy. Ended it with a good trade on MSOS, a good trade on Boeing, and a monster trade at the end of the day on Amazon. And to be honest with you, Adara, I left that order in. That 188 was from 8:30 this morning.
Wow.
And when it filled, it actually took me by surprise, which is why we have a bunch of outs, and then it popped up. Because I was like, oh my God, do we want it?
Yeah, you have to like.
So you see here, we have a couple outs. We actually have 2 ins, a couple outs, and then the blow up there. Here, I can even zoom in at the end of the day. See that?
Yeah.
So in and out, and I was like, nah, basically expletive this. We like it. And then we wound up taking it, and that was that. All right, who's here for roll call? Let's do it one more time, and then we out of here, baby. I gotta pick my kid up. He's golfing till 6:30, so that should be real fun. What's up to Aaron Scott Matthews, Sean the Transition Katina? I like that. What's up to Finch Jane? What's up to Andrew Chow, Rivian Millionaire? What's up? I like that. We saw that in the chat. Rivian Millionaire. Oh, it was Lucid Millionaire, actually, I think it was. Oh, no, it was Rivian Millionaire. Oh, what's up to Josh? What's up to Stupid Bitcoin? I like Bitcoin. What's up to Alex Davis, Andrew Chow, Oscar Plays, Lava, Hugh, Take Profit, Marie L, and Josh again. So thank you to all the 2,000 that are still hanging with us.
Wow.
Actually, I lied. 2,700.
I mean, that's all. Thank you guys so much for being here.
We like it.
That's awesome.
Oh my God, my wife, blush. See, whenever I see this on the chat right here, kiss. I'm like, oh damn. But then when I see her, it's all good.
Yeah,
So shout out to that. What's up to my lovely wife? Thank you so much for watching and probably tracking me on Apple. Oh, yeah, there, no, just joking. Thank you so much for watching. That's Miss A.
it is. Hi, guys.
I can call you that. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Okay.
I'm cool with Miss A.
I'm not just make up random names. Like I said, the Egyptian Nightmare over there. We've got Fabian, Ramin, Miss A. I got to think of one for Neil. I'm just always like, yo, what's up, Neil?
I mean, even to be fair, even Sharif's nickname for Neil is the Neil.
The Neil.
So
yeah, that's
some
not that
people really
creative, is it?
struggle
We're
to
going to have to
with
come up
nicknames
with
for
one
Neil.
for him. And then Brendan is just Brendo. Like, I'm always like,
Brendan.
let's just throw it to Brendo. Like,
Yeah.
Brendo's Brendo.
You just cut off the A.
My kids call Brendan Brendo.
I saw that in the podcast. You were like, oh, they think your name is Brendo.
Yeah, because my daughter was in there. She's like, oh, hey, Brendo. And that was really cute, so shout out to that. Oh, and a shout out, we got $20 super chat for Starbucks. So hopefully tomorrow we can make a little bit of a run
Okay.
to Starbies.
I would not.
We might need another 20 though.
I was gonna say,
how many people
I
are,
feel like my order's extra. I don't know how I mean, I will de-extra my order. But
Yeah, well-
thank you so much for the super chat.
Yeah, that's
everybody.
what it's all about. What's up, Alex Davis got married last week. Sorry to hear that. But no, honestly, no, it's going to be the best decision you ever made if you are very similar to me. All right, thank you so much. It's Trader TV Live. We're back tomorrow at 8:30. Hey, man, I think this is the best show that we have, but we have a decent one coming tomorrow at 8:30. Plus, second is probably the midday show, and then me and Neil will sort of bookend that. So we'll see everybody tomorrow at Trader TV. Sean, go find me everywhere. This is Trader TV Live. I'm coming home, and I'll see you soon. Ciao, everybody.